Chapter 1377. Knight Sorrow didn't say anything. He finished a jar of wine and went into the thatched cottage to rest. He had nothing to say to Datura Chinensis. Seeing that Knight Sorrow didn't say anything and went to sleep, Datura Chinensis smiled. She knew that things had changed. She had locked up Knight Sorrow for 5 years. She wanted things to change, but she never thought that this change was because Knight Sorrow had found an opportunity to break through. After drinking, Knight Sorrow calmed down. Every day he would meditate. Sometimes he would take a walk beside the Yellow Spring River. For ordinary people, the Yellow Spring River that ran through countless spatial worlds was very scary. If living creatures got close, their vitality would be drained. However, for Knight Sorrow it wasn't like that. He was suppressing the will of nothingness and the chi of nothingness, hiding his strength that was about to break through. However, with the will of time and space protecting his body and the leakless real body, the vitality in his body wouldn't be drained. The cleansing power of the underworld river had a deep feeling for Yishang. That kind of feeling was very strong. Yishang felt that the soul of this clone had escaped the restriction of the rules. It wasn't restricted by the soul of the main body. After being cleansed by the cleansing power, the soul power became much purer. Knight Sorrow deduced formations and studied secret arts every morning. In the afternoon he would take a walk beside the Yellow Spring River, enduring the cleansing of his soul. Datura Chinensis meditated every day and also practiced secret arts. She had 2 kinds of secret arts. One was the Great Death Destruction Slash, and the other was the Shen Luo Claw. It had the death attribute as its core and contained the power of space. It formed an extremely strong binding power. Knight Sorrow tried to comprehend it by analogy. He combined the profound meaning of the Shen Luo Claw with his heaven-covering hand. However, Knight Sorrow's doppelganger in the heaven-sealing hall did the deduction and cultivation. After all, he didn't want to provoke Datura Chinensis now. Breaking the seal on his dantian might anger Datura Chinensis. Datura Chinensis looked very calm, but she was a dangerous person. Once she was angered, the consequences would be severe. Knight Sorrow couldn't fight against her, so he was very careful. Knight Sorrow's days were the same as before. Datura Chinensis was a little puzzled. According to the situation that day, something should have happened to Knight Sorrow. But now Knight Sorrow was extremely calm. It shouldn't be like this. Mandala knew that it was useless to ask. She couldn't get anything out of Yishang's mouth because Yishang's state of mind was good. When his state of mind was calm, she couldn't get anything out of him. For free? Knight Sorrow's avatar didn't know what was going on with the main body. Under the influence of the Yellow Springs River, Knight Sorrow's main body entered an epiphany. This made Knight Sorrow very happy. Entering the state of enlightenment at the peak of Star King realm meant that he would definitely enter the Monarch realm. The war between the Reincarnation world and the Shenwu Great World was still ongoing. The war was expanding and other top forces in the Shenwu Great World joined in. This wasn't a matter of great grudges, but rather a battle between 2 worlds. It involved face and destiny. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord didn't appear, but the primordial army went out. It was Yuan Dao Heavenly's army, and also a self-defense army. Yuan Dao Heavenly only had 1 army, but it was very strong. The situation was very turbulent, and Yishang knew all about it. However, there was nothing he could do at the moment. His main body had to cultivate. The Reincarnation Great World did not lack an emperor. As for him, only when his main body broke through would he have a chance to escape. At this moment, in the big tent of the Dragon Cloud Mountain, the leaders of the Reincarnation World Alliance were all present. The situation is in a stalemate. No one can compete with Knight Sorrow in terms of strategy and tactics. Red Emperor said. Lord Ruler, when will Knight Sorrow return? If he's here, we won't have such a loss. Li Tianba said. Soon. Mandala is a leader. Knight Sorrow is trapped in a spatial world by her. Because of the interference of the natural will and rules, Knight Sorrow and I can't determine the location. It's easy to find a big world from a small world, but difficult to find a small spatial world from a big world. We can't rescue him. Datura said. If Knight Sorrow wants to escape, he can only rely on himself. And to do that, he needs strength. Qing Emperor said. If he wants to save himself, doesn't he need to have the strength to fight against the leader? He's a Star King. If he wants to fight against the leader, even if he doesn't get stuck in a bottleneck, he still needs a lot of time. He won't be able to participate in this war. This Datura Chinensis really knows how to pick a time. Lord of Precious Fragrance said. It shouldn't take long. I believe in him. When he returns again, it will be time for him to become famous. Datura said. She knew about Night Sorrow's situation and had confidence in Night Sorrow. Your trust in your husband is a little blind. But Night Sorrow is already famous. At his age, who can do this? Who can cultivate to such a high level? Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Right now, both sides have a tacit agreement that the leaders won't take action. Therefore, invincible monarchs are crucial. We don't have such talents at the moment, but the princes of the Jianghu dynasty all have this ability. Sha Chongtian of the Martial God Palace also has this ability. Our losses were mostly caused by the few of them. Our generals were all killed by them. Misty Rain said. This can't be helped. The royals of the Jianghu dynasty are all talented monsters with strong combat abilities. Sha Chongtian is the same. Sandalwood said. That's right. Right now, we won't be at a disadvantage in the fight between the leaders. Lord Ruler and Sandalwood can suppress and fight against each other. What we lack now is an invincible monarch. Summer City can, but they can only fight against each other. They can't suppress them. Qing Emperor said. Yes, our monarchs are stronger than ordinary monarchs. For example, the 3 generals of the Dark Abyss are more than enough to kill ordinary monarchs. However, they are not enough to fight against the top monarchs of the Shenwu Great World. Datura said. In the previous war, the Dark Abyss suffered great losses. Emo Shui died in battle. He was killed by Prince Jianghu of the Jianghu dynasty. Prince Jianghu was famous in the Shenwu Great World. He had the title of the #1 monarch. He could kill other monarchs easily. In this War of Worlds, he had killed or seriously injured several monarchs of the Reincarnation Great World. Therefore, we have to find invincible monarchs who can suppress the other monarchs. Otherwise, our monarchs will be seriously injured and we won't be able to fight. Sima Tianqing said. The Azure Supreme the Arch and the others felt helpless as well. Prince Zhan, who was already infinitely close to becoming a Sky Master. His comprehension of intent was only one step away from perfection. In addition to his extraordinary talent, he was invincible among those below the Sky Master level. The other strong cultivator was the young master of the Heavenly Moon Pavilion, Lin Qingyi, who was at the same level. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion was not an ally of the Jianghu dynasty. They were fighting for the Shenwu Great World. Moreover, they were very aggressive. The army of the Sima residents was defeated. Chapter 1378. Damn it, I'm so angry. If it weren't for the Mandala Lily, Yi Shang would have been able to take care of Prince Jianghu. Don't forget that when the 3 sovereigns surrounded him, Yi Shang managed to kill and severely injure them. Li Tianhu cursed. He was a heaven pillar, so how could he curse? After all, his descendants had been killed. My son, Tianxin, fought with them once and only managed to survive. We can't go on like this, Red Emperor said. Everyone knows the strength of the sovereigns under our command. They won't be able to deal with just a few people. If we can't restrain them, we can only stabilize the situation first and then find a suitable person to deal with them, Emperor Qing said. Everyone nodded. This situation wasn't easy to solve. In terms of numbers, the reincarnation world had many sovereigns. However, they were at a disadvantage. This situation was similar to the 9 domain wars. The invincible honorables were important. Datura arrived at the Heaven Sealing Hall and had 2 cups of wine with Night Sorrow. He also told Night Sorrow about the current situation. I need time. My original body has entered an epiphany. After this seclusion, my original body and doppelganger will fight. If they want to fight, we'll fight to our heart's content, Night Sorrow said. Star King had entered an epiphany at the peak level. There was no doubt that he would enter the sovereign realm. The most important thing was the duration of the epiphany. As long as he woke up, he would be in sovereign with the highest attributes. All right, I'll tell them to lie low for a while and wait for you to come out, Datura said. With the time acceleration of 20 times, 20 years of epiphany is only 1 year in real life. Besides, who can have an epiphany for 20 years? It won't take long, Night Sorrow said. He was very confident now. That's good. Stay calm. Don't provoke Datura Chinensis. If your clone dies, it will delay your real body's enlightenment. Also, the monarch realm is nothing to you. Only when your soul is complete will you be able to comprehend intent. That way it will be easier for you to reach the Sky Pillar realm, Datura reminded Night Sorrow. I will stay calm. I won't arouse her suspicion. My clone is studying and deducing a unique skill. Once I reach the monarch realm, I will fight with her. I want to see the difference between a heaven master and a monarch, Night Sorrow said. I believe you. As long as you enter the monarch realm, it will be difficult for the Sky Pillar to kill you. You can just run away. Don't fight her, Datura said. After Datura returned to Long Yunshan's command tent, he reported Night Sorrow's situation. Star King has reached the pinnacle of his cultivation. When he wakes up he will be a monarch. That's great. We have to endure. Li Qianba slammed the table and said. Then the Sky Pillars decided to slow down their attack to avoid unnecessary losses. If they lost too much now, when Night Sorrow returned, he would have absolute combat power in the Monarch realm. If they didn't have enough people, they wouldn't be able to turn the situation around. Night Sorrow stayed in the Blackwater space. Every day he was very quiet. Datura Chinensis didn't make things difficult for him because no matter what Night Sorrow did, he always had the Annihilation Orb in his left hand. It had been like this for several years. This made the Mandala Lily understand that Night Sorrow was determined to fight to the death. If he self-destructed, then the fish would die. If Night Sorrow was forced to self-destruct, then the Mandala Lily would be affected. Datura wasn't willing to do such a thing. She wanted to compete with Datura for her future. If she forced Night Sorrow to his death, she would destroy her own future. Night Sorrow didn't provoke Datura Chinensis either. He just did his own things. He calmed his mind, focused his mind, cultivated his mind, and cultivated his array skills. Your true chi and energy don't leak. It's very similar to the legendary leakless body. How about I use my ultimate skill to exchange for your technique? Mandala looked at Night Sorrow and said. I don't have an ultimate skill and I'm not interested in yours. Night Sorrow instinctively rejected. Ultimate skills were impressive, but they couldn't compare to the leakless true body. In general, the leakless true body was also an ultimate skill, but its effects and uses were beyond the scope of an ultimate skill. One had to know that it was a technique to pass the trials of wind and fire. This was something that all Sky Pillars dreamed of. How could Night Sorrow exchange the leakless true body with Mandala Datura? This was impossible. It was impossible at all. Seeing Night Sorrow turn around and go for a stroll, Datura Chinensis was so angry that she stomped her feet. Suddenly the ground cracked and the cracks extended in all directions. Datura Chinensis was really angry, but she couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow. She wanted nothing more than to kill Night Sorrow right now, but she couldn't. It wasn't impossible to kill Night Sorrow, unless she didn't enter the world of reincarnation. That way she could ignore the heavenly punishment of the world of reincarnation. However, her battle with Datura had just begun. How could she not enter the world of reincarnation? But if she killed Night Sorrow and entered the world of reincarnation, she would be punished by the heavenly punishment. With bad luck she could easily die. Datura Chinensis had no choice but to endure. Although she had the strength to kill Night Sorrow, she couldn't. Datura Chinensis appeared to be calm. Night Sorrow also felt more at ease. What he needed most now was to calm down. After calming down, Night Sorrow continued to study Array Dao. His 9 Serenity Slaughtering God Dragon Tiger Array was close to completion. He had completely mastered the 9 Serenity Slaughtering God Array. If Datura Chinensis wasn't watching him, he would have refined the point array disc. After calming down, everything calmed down. The world of reincarnation turned to defense. The world war wasn't that intense, but there were still people who died. In the world of Blackwater, because Night Sorrow was calm and Night Sorrow wasn't angry, Datura Chinensis didn't do anything excessive. Datura Chinensis planned to wait a little longer before taking action. She went out to spread the news and use it to disturb Datura's state of mind. Night Sorrow could feel his cultivation increasing. Before the Epiphany, Night Sorrow had been using resources to cultivate. His energy cultivation had been following his realm. When he was cultivating, Night Sorrow also piled up a large number of Holy Spirit stones around him. Night Sorrow wanted his cultivation to keep up with his realm. Then, he would be able to fight after the advancement. He would have the realm and cultivation of the monarch. Night Sorrow was very excited to feel the increase in his cultivation. His current cultivation had surpassed the range of Star King. Time slipped away. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Night Sorrow had been cultivating in the Palace of Reincarnation for 5 years. On this day, Night Sorrow's body shook. Then the aura on his body changed. The will of nothingness rippled in all directions. It was strong and overbearing. The purple halo kept annihilating the energy of the Holy Spirit stones around him. Monarch Realm. After 5 years of Epiphany, Night Sorrow entered a realm that countless people couldn't reach. Update: soonest after Night Sorrow's original body advanced, he opened his eyes to take a look. After withdrawing his aura, he continued to cultivate. His comprehension was very smooth. The epiphany was interrupted by the impact of the will after the advancement. The comprehension could still continue. Chapter 1379. Release. Night Sorrow's original body continued to comprehend, but the clone in Blackwater World made a move. Night Sorrow, who was taking a walk beside the Yellow Spring River, shook his body and released his monarch-level chi. He rushed towards the death energy trapped in his dantian and activated the Yellow Spring Stone in his dantian to absorb the death energy. With a boom, the death energy around Night Sorrow's dantian was shaken off and absorbed by the Yellow Spring Stone. After unlocking his dantian, Night Sorrow shook his arm and held the Skybreaker in his hand. His aura rippled in all directions. It was the impact of battle intent. During this time, Yi Shang's doppelganger in the Blackwater realm had not cultivated the battle intent, but the doppelganger in the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall could continue to cultivate the battle intent and absolute arts. Datura Chinensis's body flashed and appeared a few feet in front of Night Sorrow. Monarch? That's right. I'm already a monarch. I think I can fight now. Night Sorrow pointed at the ground with the Skybreaker. His battle intent and willpower surged in all directions. You want to fight? Datura Chinensis's face was full of shock and anger. She knew very well that the 8-star King's Night Sorrow could resist her for a while. Now that the 9-star King was a monarch, his battle power was even stronger. Why was the 8-star King a king and the 9-star King a monarch? Because it involved the power of one's will. An 8-star sovereign king comprehended 80% of the will of heaven and earth. However, a sovereign king was different. I'm leaving now. If you stop me, you're asking for a fight. If you take the initiative to kill me, no matter if I win or lose, you won't have a good ending. Night Sorrow's arm shook, and the purple halo on the Skybreaker flowed in circles. Datura Chinensis took a step back and her face changed. Night Sorrow's willpower and energy made her understand why Night Sorrow could fight above his level. The supreme attributes, void willpower, void rule, void energy, a complete set of supreme attributes. How can I let you escape now? If I kill you, I won't go to the world of Samsara. I'll just stay in Shinwu Great World and Black Yellow Great World. Datura will come to me for revenge. By then, her state of mind will be broken and she will die, Datura Chinensis said coldly. You might have thought this before today, but it's too late now, Night Sorrow said. Do you think you're so confident after becoming a monarch? Die. The Datura Lily extended her arm and slashed her long sword at Night Sorrow. You want me to die? Let's see if you can do it. Night Sorrow's right hand shook, and the purple halo on the Skybreaker collided with the tip of Datura Chinensis's long sword. With a loud explosion, Night Sorrow and Mandala separated. Both of them took a dozen steps back. So this is all you've got. Come again. Night Sorrow poured the power of Desolates into his body, and his bloodline talent propped up a protective shield. With the support of the spacetime willpower, the Skybreaker performed the Void Extreme Kill and rushed toward Datura Chinensis. Shameless boasting. Datura Chinensis waved the long sword in his hand. The long sword with a black halo slashed toward Night Sorrow's Skybreaker. Although he was boasting, Datura Chinensis was shocked. Night Sorrow's attack strength was almost the same as hers. The amount of true chi was not as high as hers, but the quality was high. It completely suppressed her death energy. Night Sorrow's true chi was high, which made up for the lack of true chi. It was the same in a battle of willpower. In addition, Night Sorrow's body contained the power of Desolates, and his protective shield was made of spatial energy. With the support of the spacetime willpower, his speed and strength increased a lot, making up for the gap between him and Datura Chinensis. The two of them began to fight by the Yellow Springs River. When there was danger, Night Sorrow would perform the afterimage body. Night Sorrow's afterimage body could not only alleviate the danger, but it could also seize the initiative. Datura Chinensis was shocked. Night Sorrow was too strong. He had just become a monarch, but he could fight her to a standstill. Even if he was lacking, he could rely on his body strength and speed to make up for it. Death's Destruction Slash. Datura Chinensis, who was a little anxious, used her ultimate move first. Seeing Datura Chinensis use her ultimate move, Night Sorrow's soul power activated her golden light of virtue to resist the influence of her soul. Then she used the Void Extreme Kill to meet Datura Chinensis's longsword. When the Death's Destruction Slash's black halo enveloped Night Sorrow, it was blocked by the golden light on Night Sorrow's head. Datura Chinensis's expression changed. The power of an ultimate move was most important to the spacetime and soul. Apart from that, It was only at the level of an ordinary Shen skill. With a loud explosion, the two weapons collided once again. Night Sorrow was pushed back and so was Datura Chinensis. Night Sorrow's Void Extreme Kill was also a mature Shen skill. Although it blocked Datura Chinensis's ultimate move, Night Sorrow was unable to melt Datura Chinensis's weapon. Datura Chinensis's weapon was tyrannical, and it was also supported by her perfect willpower. It was not something that Night Sorrow could break through. The battle between the two continued. Night Sorrow did not use his ultimate move. Using an ultimate move would consume a lot of energy. On the other hand, his and Datura Chinensis's biggest weakness was their true chi. The amount of true chi they had was not as much as Datura Chinensis's. This was the difference between an overlord and an overlord. Translator, Nyoibo Studio Editor, Nyoibo Studio 2 hours 4 hours passed. Night Sorrow and Datura Chinensis had both consumed a lot of true chi. However, the situation was becoming more and more favorable for Night Sorrow. This was the effect of Night Sorrow's tyrannical body. Datura Chinensis, your true chi is about the same as mine. Can you take me down? Night Sorrow, who had been on the defensive all this time, said after using a violent move. I'll definitely kill you too, you adulterous pair. The red spider Lily shouted harshly. Then I'll wait for you. Night Sorrow used Afterimage Body and escaped into the distance. Night Sorrow had his reasons for choosing to leave at this time. If he ran at the beginning of the battle, Datura Chinensis would definitely chase after him. Night Sorrow also wanted to know the difference between him and Datura Chinensis. He wanted to know if he could contend against Datura Chinensis, and if he could not, how much of a difference was there. This battle lasted for 4 hours. The result of the battle was a tie. It was very difficult for Night Sorrow to kill Datura Chinensis. It was almost impossible. Datura Chinensis could not kill Night Sorrow even if she wanted to. Night Sorrow's attributes, rules and willpower all suppressed her. After fighting for 4 hours, Datura Chinensis had consumed a lot of true chi. Night Sorrow was comparatively less exhausted. He did not use his ultimate move. He knew that it was unrealistic to kill Datura Chinensis, so he kept fighting conservatively. Night Sorrow's body flashed and left at an extremely fast speed. Datura Chinensis slashed out a sword light, but the sword light missed. She did not chase after him. If she did, the result would be different from before. She had consumed a lot of true chi. If she continued to consume it, she would most likely lose. Datura Chinensis, remember this. It's best if you don't let me see you again. The next time we fight, the result will not be like this. Night Sorrow left behind a few words. Speak. Chapter 1380. Unsealed. After leaving Datura Chinensis's residence, Night Sorrow flew directly toward the space barrier of Blackwater World. When he arrived near the space barrier, Night Sorrow found a place to meditate and recover. He didn't have a transmission array disk, so he had to pass through the space turbulence. There was no cultivation civilization in Blackwater World, neither human beings nor monsters with cultivators. There were no other transmission arrays except for the one set up by Datura Chinensis. The transmission arrays set up by Datura Chinensis were not connected. They were all connected by the transmission array disk, so Night Sorrow couldn't use them. However, Night Sorrow knew that he could pass through the space turbulence. After resting and recovering for 4 hours, Night Sorrow recovered to his peak state. Then he probed for a bit before heading towards the nearest spatial world. How did the transmission array come about? It was set up by Datura Chinensis. It must have flown out before it was set up. If Datura Chinensis could fly out, why couldn't he? Night Sorrow was confident that if Datura Chinensis could do it, so could he. The fact was that the transmission array was set up by Datura Chinensis. If she could pass through it, Night Sorrow could naturally pass through it, but it was very difficult. It took Night Sorrow half a month to reach a high-level world with a civilization and a transmission array connected to the big world. Yongjujujujo said, along the way Yishan had also set up a hidden teleportation array. He felt that it might be useful one day. Of course, there was also the possibility that it wouldn't be useful. Yishan didn't lack ordinary teleportation array crystals. Sitting on the transmission array of the high-level world, Night Sorrow arrived at the world of Samsara. Then he teleported again and arrived at Black Demon City. Now the command center of the world of Samsara had been moved to Black Demon City. As soon as Night Sorrow arrived at the door, Qing Emperor, Datura, and the others appeared. Disciple greets Master, Master's wife and everyone. I Night Sorrow am back. Night Sorrow saluted the group of people. Monarch, You're a monarch? Li Qianba stuttered because this speed was too fast. When he first learned about Night Sorrow was still a beginner king. Luckily I broke through. Otherwise I wouldn't be back, Night Sorrow said. You fought with Datura Chinensis? Datura asked excitedly. Yishang nodded. He didn't want to talk about this as it was a bit of an exaggeration. However, it was unrealistic for him to run out without fighting. Sneak away? No sovereign king or sovereign lord would be able to sneak away under the nose of a heaven pillar giant. It's good that you're back. We've been too depressed recently, Sikong Tianqing said. For the past 5 years, almost 6 years, Yishang has not participated in the battle. I'm very sorry. Yishang cupped his hands and said. Let's go in. What's the point of talking outside? Li Tianhu said. After entering the City Lord Manor, Qing Emperor explained the current situation. A part of Blackfiend Valley had been conquered because the monarchs of Samsara world couldn't withstand the attacks of the other monarchs. If they fought head-on, some monarchs would fall. If they didn't fight head-on, some territories would fall. Currently, they didn't lose much territory because the other party didn't dare to attack separately. They only sent top-tier monarchs to conquer territories. Night Sorrow then learned that Sima Manor, Blackfiend Valley, and Qing Emperor's dynasty all had generals fall. Night Sorrow was relieved that Nine Heaven Army didn't. However, Nu Lin was heavily injured because several generals of Nine Heaven Army used a combined formation to block Prince Jianghu. He dares to injure a general of Nine Heaven Army? He must have a death wish. He had heard that Nu Lin was injured and Yi Shanghuo was injured. The soldiers of the Nine Heavens Legion were all his brothers. Nu Lin was the #1 general of the Nine Heavens Legion, which meant that he was the vice commander. How could Yi Shang not be angry when Prince Jianghu injured him? Night Sorrow, that Prince Jianghu is very strong. He's infinitely close to a Sky Master. Prince Flying, who is also very strong. The two of them are on one side. The other side is Marquis Qingyi Lin Qingyi from Sky Moon Pavilion. She's a woman who controls 7 normal attributes. Her attacks are very aggressive. Our people can't handle her, Datura said. I'm back. I'll lead Nine Heaven Army to battle, Night Sorrow said. It's been so frustrating. They've been suppressing us because they have top-tier monarchs. We're in a passive position. If we don't fight, our territory will be stolen. If we fight, people will be killed, Sandalwood said. After telling Qing Emperor that he could fight at any time, Night Sorrow left the City Lord Palace and went to Nine Heaven Army's base in Blackfiend City. Yishang looked at Nu Lin. Nu Lin was a senior from 2 months ago. His chest had been pierced by Prince Jianghu's sword. He had been severely injured, but after 2 months of rest, he had almost recovered. Commander, you are a king now? Wei Wei looked at Yishang with surprise. After dodging a disaster, my cultivation has improved. Night Sorrow nodded. Commander, during the years you weren't here, we didn't work hard. We couldn't beat them, Nu Lin said. I was captured and couldn't fight. My brothers have suffered, Night Sorrow said apologetically. Commander, don't say that. We know the situation. As long as you're back safe and sound, we can fight with you again, Wei Wei said. After that, wine was served. The generals and Yi Shang drank to their heart's content in the tent. While they were drinking, Qing Emperor, Misty Rain, and Datura arrived. Night Sorrow, you've been wrong these years. It's my fault, Qing Emperor said. Master, you think too much. I haven't been able to fight with you these years. It's my fault. Night Sorrow bowed. Let's not talk about this. I'm here to ask you if you don't need to stabilize your cultivation? Qing Emperor asked after sitting down. No need. I can fight at any time. Night Sorrow was still angry. Prince Zhan, who is a tyrant among monarchs. Night Sorrow, are you confident? You just leveled up. You can stabilize for a while, Misty Rain said. Yes. I've been too depressed these years. I need to fight. I need to fight now, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, tell me the truth. Did you fight with Mandala Sarah and then escape? Mandala asked. Yes. I didn't have a chance to kill her, but she couldn't kill me either. After fighting for 4 hours, I retreated. Datura Chinensis didn't chase me because she knew that it was useless. She couldn't kill me. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything since there were no outsiders here. Night Sorrow, your body has 90% of the original body's combat power. If the original body comes out, it will be even stronger, Datura said excitedly. Not in a short time. After I leveled up, the original body only woke up for a while. The epiphany didn't stop. It's still learning, Night Sorrow said. If the original body could continue to learn, Night Sorrow wouldn't give up. The monarch realm wasn't the peak of cultivation. There was still room for improvement. Night Sorrow wouldn't stop. The original body's improvement was something that could never be stopped. Speak. Here's the second update. Thank you for unsealing it. Chapter 1381. You've broken through to the monarch realm, but you're still having an epiphany? Misty Rain looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. After entering the monarch realm, it was even harder to comprehend willpower. It was almost impossible to achieve an epiphany. How should I put it? It's my lucky chance. I was stuck at the bottleneck of Star King's Peak and it was difficult for me to break through. When I was upset, I went to the Yellow Spring River for a walk. Looking at the flowing Yellow Spring River, I had a feeling, so I had an epiphany. After entering the monarch realm, I was only slightly awakened by the impact of willpower. Then I continued to cultivate. Night Sorrow felt lucky when he thought of this. If you can continue to comprehend, don't come out. After entering the monarch realm, you can still have an epiphany and comprehend willpower at a high speed. It's too rare. Datura said. It's my lucky chance. Maybe I'm just lucky. Night Sorrow smiled. It's good that you're back. Now that you're back, we're at ease. Besides, the Heavenly Moon Pavilion is approaching the eastern district of the world of Samsara. We have to stop them. That Marquis Qingyi is difficult to deal with. Qing Emperor said. Then I'll go and kill her. Night Sorrow said coldly. Qing Emperor nodded. Now, besides Night Sorrow, no one could stabilize the situation. During this period of time, the situation in the world of reincarnation was not good. If it were not for the fact that Night Sorrow could break through, the world of reincarnation would have started a war between the giants. The world of reincarnation could not withstand a war between giants. This is the military report. Take a look. Qing Emperor took out a complete map of the world of Samsara and then told Night Sorrow about the current situation. The situation is not good. I'll deal with the Heavenly Moon Pavilion first. They are not far from Qing City. The next city to be attacked will be Qing City. I'll take the Nine Heaven Army there and wait for her. Night Sorrow rolled up the military report and made a decision. I'll go and prepare the army. Nu Lin and the other generals stood up. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow had decided to fight. They all wanted to see Night Sorrow's first battle after becoming a monarch. With the teleportation array, the soldiers of the Nine Heavens Legion moved very quickly. An hour later they arrived at Qingqing. Qingqing was a beautiful scenery in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. There was a big lake outside the city, and beside the lake was a flat plain. Standing on top of the city gate, Night Sorrow wiped Lai Kong with a towel. 2 hours later, the densely packed Silver Armor Legion was about 5 kilometers outside of Qingqing. They landed in an orderly fashion, led by a woman in a red robe and golden armor. She was different from ordinary women. Her hair was not tied up in a bun, but rather hung loosely behind her head. She held a golden staff in her hand. With so many Sky Masters here, are you going to use us, the Sky Moon Army, as your first strike? The golden armored woman waved the golden sword in her hand and roared. No, we're not going to bully a junior. The battle between the Sky Masters has nothing to do with you. Qing Emperor said. So many Sky Masters are here to watch me take the city? You think too highly of my daughter, said the Marquis of Qingyi, Lin Qingyi. Taking Qingqing is not a matter of words. Nine Heavens Legion, prepare for battle. Yishang's white battle robe danced in the wind as he rode the ice Qilin to the city. He stopped 2 miles away from Lin Qingyi. Then the 7 armies of the Nine Heaven Legion lined up outside Qing City. 7 square formations stood behind Yishang. Who are you? Lin Qingyi waved the staff in her hand and asked Night Sorrow. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Qing Emperor's Dynasty, Nine Heavens Legion, Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow glanced at the staff in Lin Qingyi's hand. Night Sorrow. I know you. You're the commander of the Nine Heavens Legion, the #1 legion in Samsara world. You're also known as the #1 commander. I didn't expect you to appear after not fighting for a few years. Lin Qingyi was stunned when she heard Night Sorrow's name. That's a bit exaggerated. Since we've met before the battle, let's settle it with a battle. Night Sorrow said. I've defeated many monarchs in the world of reincarnation, but I haven't defeated anyone from the Qing Imperial Dynasty. Today I'll make an exception. If I'm lucky enough to defeat you and the Nine Heavens Army, then no one will be able to become my Celestial Moon Army, said Lin Qingyi. Maybe. How do you want to fight? I, Night Sorrow, will accompany you to the end. Night Sorrow said. You're bold. I, Lin Qingyi, went to the Qing Emperor's dynasty's territory to contribute to the Xinwu Great World War. I only want to take down the Qing Emperor's dynasty's territory. I don't want to kill too much. Let's fight to the death. This way we won't stand in each other's way in the future. Lin Qingyi said. If I, Knight Sorrow, lose and die, I won't stand in your way. What if you lose? Knight Sorrow asked coldly. It's the same. If I, Lin Qingyi, lose and die, I won't stand in your way either, Knight Sorrow. Lin Qingyi said. Okay. Knight Sorrow nodded. Lin Qingyi's feet trembled and she flew toward Knight Sorrow like a bolt of lightning. Knight Sorrow leaped into the air and used the space splitter. Then he used the space whirling dragon kill. Their weapons clashed in the air and there was an explosion. Knight Sorrow's body fluttered slightly, but Lin Qingyi was sent flying more than 60 meters away. Recently, Knight Sorrow had made a change to his fighting style. The power of Desolates was always in his body. This made the advantage of his strong body and great strength even more obvious. When fighting with people of the same level, his strength was overwhelming. His protective Jinqi was the power of space which made his speed faster. Lin Qingyi's expression changed when she was sent flying. Knight Sorrow's strength was too strong. She felt as if she had been hit by a giant beast. At this time, Knight Sorrow flew forward rapidly. A series of afterimages appeared behind him. Then he used the Void Extreme Kill and attacked Lin Qingyi. Streaks of energy appeared on Lin Qingyi's body and spun towards Knight Sorrow's space splitter. Bang! The two collided again. The space was shaken and cracks spread out in all directions like a spider web. Knight Sorrow knew that this was Lin Qingyi's signature move. A mixed attribute and will formed by the fusion of 7 ordinary attributes. Even high-level attributes would not have any advantage in front of her. However, Knight Sorrow's attributes were supreme. His will, rules, and energy were all supreme. Therefore Lin Qingyi could not withstand it and was suppressed. After being sent flying by Knight Sorrow again, Lin Qingyi's golden sword spun. Her body rippled with 7-colored energy and attacked Knight Sorrow again. Knight Sorrow used the Void Extreme Kill again. He wanted to see what this mixed will was like. Therefore he did not use his ultimate move. The two of them flew in the air between the two armies. However, everyone could see that Lin Qingyi was definitely at a disadvantage. Universe Strike. Lin Qingyi, who had been suppressed by Knight Sorrow, shouted. She knew that if she did not change she would lose. Knight Sorrow used the space splitter in his hand and used his ultimate move. Chapter 1382. Great Emperor Reincarnation / Both of them unleashed their ultimate techniques at the same time. Lin Qingyi's golden energy formed countless rays of light that shot towards Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow's gray protective energy vibrated and blocked most of Lin Qingyi's attack. Only some of the rays pierced through Knight Sorrow's protective energy shield, but only his robe was cut. Knight Sorrow had the power of Desolate stored in his body, so some of the attacks couldn't break through. However, Knight Sorrow felt that Lin Qingyi's attack was really sharp, and it made him feel pain. Ordinary ultimate techniques could affect the soul and time, but Lin Qingyi's ultimate technique Heaven and Earth Strike wasn't like that. Countless rays of light exploded from her body and bombarded Knight Sorrow's body, destroying his body. Was this the real deal? Only Knight Sorrow could do this. Other than running away, the others couldn't block it. Knight Sorrow blocked Lin Qingyi's Heaven and Earth Strike, but Lin Qingyi couldn't block Knight Sorrow's Great Emperor Reincarnation / Her body was enveloped by a purple halo, and everything seemed to be still. Lai Kong seemed to have passed through space and appeared directly in front of Lin Qingyi's head. Break! Lin Qingyi roared and the energy in her body exploded. Various colored halos rushed towards the purple halo on her head, and then she raised her arms horizontally. Although the soul and time were affected, every cultivator had their subconscious, which was their instinct. At this moment, Lin Qingyi felt the threat of death and instinctively unleashed her potential. Seeing that Lai Kong's assassination route was blocked, Knight Sorrow raised Lai Kong and smashed it down. Knight Sorrow could stab and hurt Lin Qingyi, but he would send Lin Qingyi flying. That way, even if Lin Qingyi was injured, she would have a chance to recover. That wasn't what he wanted. Therefore, the power of Desolates surged and poured into his arms as he smashed down with all his might. With 2 crisp sounds, both of Lin Qingyi's arms were broken. She was originally blocking Yi Shang's attack with her head, but then she changed her stance at the last moment. Naturally, she couldn't withstand Yi Shang's ferocious attack. Both of her arms were broken, even though they were filled with energy. After breaking Lin Qingyi's arms, Knight Sorrow's Sky Splitter continued to smash down. It hit Lin Qingyi's collarbone and broke it. Lin Qingyi was smashed to the ground. Lin Qingyi was hit so hard that she fell to the ground and cracked the bluestone on the ground. Even though Lin Qingyi's arms were broken, she didn't let go of gold. When she knelt on one knee and crawled to her feet, Yishang's space splitter stopped between her eyebrows. "You lost," Yishan said. "You lost." Lin Qingyi stood up and looked at Yishang. "From today onwards, I don't want to see the Sky Moon Army in the Samsara realm," Night Sorrow said. "If I fail, there's no point for the Sky Moon Army to stay. Listen up, don't fight anymore. Go back to Jianghu Great World and tell the Pavilion Master that this is what I want. Night Sorrow, you can make your move now." Lin Qingyi turned around and spoke to the army. Then she looked at Night Sorrow. "Leave." Night Sorrow took a few steps back. "You're not going to kill me?" Lin Qingyi looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. "You said that you came here because you wanted to contribute to the Jianghu Great World Realm War. You wanted to take over the territory of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. You didn't want to kill more people." "So did I," Night Sorrow nodded. "The Marquis of the Heavenly Moon Court, Lin Qingyi, owes you a favor. You will not see me or the Heavenly Moon Army again in the Realm War. Retreat." Lin Qingyi nodded to Yishang and retreated, leading the Heavenly Moon Army away from the battlefield. "Miss, I didn't protect you well and let you get hurt." An old woman flew to Lin Qingyi's side. "Aunt Mu, if he wants to kill, no one can stop him. It's not your fault." Lin Qingyi looked back at Night Sorrow, who was still standing on the battlefield. "Is it appropriate for us to not fight?" Aunt Mu asked. "Aunt Mu, which army is the strongest in the Samsara realm?" "It's the Ninth Heaven Army. At the beginning of the Realm War, the Ninth Heaven Army was invincible. Later they quieted down because their commander wasn't there. But even without the commander, they were able to hold their ground. Now that the commander has returned, and he's ridiculously strong, the Nine Heavens Army now has a backbone. If we continue to fight, the Sky Moon Army will be gone. There won't be anything left." Lin Qingyi exhaled and said. She was seriously injured and her arms were broken. But at King's level, it was easy for them to regrow broken limbs. She had almost recovered. "I've checked the information of the Samsara realm. 5 years ago, when Night Sorrow was a king, Hu Shao of the Jianghu dynasty led 2 sovereigns to kill him. One was killed, the other was disabled, and the other escaped. He wasn't a sovereign at that time, but he was an expert among sovereigns. Now that he's a sovereign, it's hard to find a match for him." Amu said. "We've contributed to the realm war. It's not wise to fight to the death when we know we can't win." Lin Qingyi shook her head. She felt defeated and powerless. Night Sorrow gave her the feeling that he was invincible. His aura was majestic. Whether it was strength, speed, or attacks, they all had a majestic aura. His every move was unstoppable. Lin Qingyi knew that Night Sorrow fought conservatively. When he defeated her, he used his ultimate move. "Miss, are there any sovereigns in the Jianghu Great World who can stop him? Flying Tiger Prince isn't a match for you. What about War Tiger Prince and Sha Chongtian?" Aunt Mu asked. Lin Qingyi shook her head. "Flying Tiger Prince has no chance. He can't even defeat me. Sha Chongtian is about the same as me. There's no chance of defeating him. I'm not sure about War Tiger Prince's strength, but he might be able to fight him. Aunt Mu, I need information on Night Sorrow. The more detailed, the better." Aunt Mu nodded. She was Lin Qingyi's follower and helped her with some trivial matters. Night Sorrow watched Lin Qingyi leave. He waved his hand and ordered the Ninth Heaven Army to retreat. He jumped and landed on the city gate. Good fight." Li Tianba stood up and smashed the table into pieces. He was too excited. "Night Sorrow, why didn't you kill them?" "Kill them all," Li Tianhu said as he glared at them. "There's no need for that. Defeating them without fighting is the best strategy. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion is here for the Realm War. They have no enmity with us. The Ninth Heaven Army can kill some of them, but there will be losses. The losses aren't worth it because our main opponents are the War Tiger Dynasty, Martial Sacred Palace, and Poison King Valley. We can defeat them if they're here for the Realm War." Night Sorrow explained why he didn't kill Lin Qingyi. "Night Sorrow, you're right. If you kill them, the Heavenly Moon Pavilion will appear again in the future. It will be troublesome for us. Now they won't bother us." Qing Emperor nodded at Night Sorrow. "That's right. One battle to settle the problem." "Night Sorrow, no one but you can do that," Sima Tianqing said. "This time I chose the Heavenly Moon Pavilion for this battle. In the next battle I'll start killing. I'll choose an opponent and kill them all," Night Sorrow said. He knew that he needed to be benevolent and righteous at the same time. Chapter 1383. Me too? Underscore? I don't know / unsealed, then we'll deal with Martial's Sacred Palace in the next round. They deserve to die. The Crimson Emperor said. Okay, then we'll deal with Martial's Sacred Palace in the next round. Knight Sorrow nodded. He also felt that Martial's Sacred Palace was a force that deserved to be destroyed. Then, Sima Qiansheng suggested drinking, and the group flew towards the City Lord's mansion. At the level of Heaven Masters, Datura and Sandalwood could restrain and suppress them. The reincarnation Great World was at a disadvantage because of the lack of monarchs. Knight Sorrow's first battle after his return had shown his ability, which made everyone feel much more at ease. After drinking, Knight Sorrow and Datura strolled around the city. After I'm done with this, I'll spend some time with you and your family, Knight Sorrow said. Datura nodded. It wasn't easy for you to escape this calamity. Datura Chinensis probably won't give up so easily, but she won't have many chances to make a move in the future. Datura felt relieved that Knight Sorrow had entered the monarch level because Knight Sorrow was indeed her weakness. Holding Datura's hand, the two strolled around the streets. Datura asked Knight Sorrow how he found out that Datura was a fake. I wanted to hold her hand but she avoided me. How can a wife do that? Actually, I was a little agitated at that time. I should have calmed down, and then my clone in the heaven-sealing Great Hall would find a way to inform you. But thinking about it, I've gained a lot in the 5 years that he captured me, Knight Sorrow said. He was indeed satisfied that he had used 5 years to enter the monarch realm. You're indeed a little anxious. You should calm her down first. As the two talked, they got on the teleportation array. Knight Sorrow wanted to go home to take a look. His family knew that something had happened to him, so he went back to take a look. His parents and wife would also feel at ease. When Knight Sorrow came back, Yi Wuyo, Yu Qin and the others were very happy. They held a family banquet at home. Yi Wuyo and Yu Qin were both Saint Kings. Knight Sorrow was also very happy. He did not think that his parents and wife would have great achievements, but no matter what, they had to be kings. That way their lifespans would be limitless. As for his son and daughter, Knight Sorrow was not worried at all. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan's cultivation base was higher than his. In the future, it would not be a problem for them to enter the king realm. There were many factors that had to be taken into consideration if one wanted to be successful in cultivation. However, talent was also very important. The most important factor was luck and opportunity. Knight Sorrow knew that fate was an unknown factor, but in terms of luck, he was sure that his family members were not bad. He was a realm lord and a virtuous saint. The people around him, his family members and his friends would all be blessed by luck. Currently, the 9 regions world was a high-level world. It could already produce a place where willpower was displayed. It would be easier for his family members to comprehend willpower. Father, we want to go to the world of reincarnation to see the current realm war. Yi Qingyan said. Okay. You can come with me later. Stay with Grandmaster and Grandmaster to broaden your horizons. Knight Sorrow agreed after thinking about it. You spoil them too much. You agree to everything and even trouble them. Sikong Chiyu said. It's nothing. The children need it. I just want to say hello to Grandmaster and Grandmaster's wife. There's no need to be so polite with them. Knight Sorrow smiled. Father, look. Aunts and my mother are so strict. Yi Qingyan hugged Knight Sorrow's arm and looked at Aoi who was glaring at her. I'm often not at home. So your mother and aunts not only treat you with the love of a mother, but also with the strictness of a father. I don't have the time to educate you or guide you in cultivation. So all I can do is pamper you a little. Knight Sorrow said. Daughter and brother know that father is busy. Without father's hard work, the Yi clan wouldn't be as stable and prosperous as the 9 regions world. Yi Qingyan said. Your father has always been working hard. Actually, it's to fight for a place for the Yi clan and the 9 regions world. Now, your father has the qualifications. Anyone who wants to harm your father will have to think twice, including the Sky Pillar. Datura said. Of course. Hence you're domineering enough. Who isn't afraid of you? Yi Yujun said. Is your father someone who needs ants to support him? It's your father who can do this. You still don't understand your father. Datura said with a smile. Father, what's your cultivation? Yi Qingyan looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. I've made some gains recently. Let's not talk about that. Father, mother, I still have some things to take care of. Once I'm done, I'll come back and accompany you. Knight Sorrow stood up and said. He didn't want to tell his children about his cultivation because he didn't want to put pressure on them. Go. Yi Wuyo nodded. Night Sorrow and Datura brought Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun to Black Fiend City through the teleportation array. Then they went to the City Lord's mansion. Greetings, Grandmaster, Grandmaster. Greetings, seniors. After entering the City Lord's mansion, Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun bowed to Qing Emperor, Misty Rain, and the others. Why are you two here? Qing Emperor said with a smile. He was very fond of Night Sorrow's children. We told Father that we wanted to go to the reincarnation world to broaden our horizons. Yi Qingyan said. There are many opportunities to increase your cultivation and strength. However, it's rare to see a realm war like this. You two should stay with Grandmaster and Grandmaster. Qing Emperor nodded. You two listen to me. Father still has things to do. After saying that to his children, Night Sorrow and Montua left the City Lord's mansion. DV equals eternal. Free 9 view 1-inch Father, your name is known throughout the world. Your children are also dragons and phoenixes among men. Sima Tianqing said. Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun cupped their hands towards Sima Tianqing in response to being praised by a senior. If your father wasn't Night Sorrow and your grandmaster wasn't Qing Emperor, I would also want to take you in as my disciples. Sima Tianqing said with a smile. This wasn't fake politeness. Who was he? He was a big shot. He could naturally see through Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun's situation with a single glance. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan's eyes were filled with spirituality. Their bodies were also filled with righteousness. If you can't take in a disciple, you can take in a son-in-law. Do you have an unmarried girl in your family? Red Emperor said with a smile. Red Emperor, you? All right. The leaders of other forces have a lot of children. I don't have any grandchildren. I only have one precious daughter. However, you won't have a chance until you reach the King Realm. Once you reach the King Realm, I can help you talk to him. Sima Tianqing looked at Yi Yujun and said. In the marriage of high-level cultivators, there wasn't much to be said. However, the most important point was that King Realm cultivators wouldn't easily marry cultivators below the King Realm. This was because one had an endless lifespan while the other had a limited lifespan. There was a fundamental difference between the two. Residence Master Sima, are you serious? Qing Emperor looked at Sima Tianqing. Of course. Qing Emperor, don't think too much about it. Don't think about taking advantage of it. Sima Tianqing said. All right. Yujun, work harder. When you reach the King Realm, your father won't even need to step in. Grandmaster will propose marriage for you. No matter what dowry the Sima residence wants, our family will pay for it. Qing Emperor directly said. Many thanks to Grandmaster. Many thanks to Senior. Yi Yujun bowed to Qing Emperor and Sima Tianqing. What about this one? I'll reserve this girl for my child. Li Tianba looked at Yi Qingyan and said. Don't even think about it. Misty Rain interrupted Li Tianba. But first watch. Chapter 1384. Why? Li Tianba asked with his eyes wide open. It's not that easy to marry a woman from the Yi family, Qing Emperor said. Father said that as long as I like it, it's fine. He will only give advice and not interfere with my decisions. I don't have such plans yet, but I will respect his advice, Yi Qingyan said with a smile. Father has done well, Lord of Precious Fragrance said. After Night Sorrow returned to the Nine Heavens Army's encampment, he chatted with the generals for a while before going to the God-slaying team's encampment. They were now under Wuxia's command. They were free of charge for a long time. 13th brother, you're too impressive, Tianyu said. I saw that you're a king, but I was too busy to congratulate you. Very good. You and Yi Mei are both good, Night Sorrow said. Yi Mei and Tianyu were both one-star king. Yi Mei nodded, but she didn't seem to be in a good mood. While everyone was drinking and chatting, Yi Mei revealed some things under Yi Shang's questioning. She was a reincarnated soul. She was a nine-tailed fox in her previous life. In her previous life, there was a war and the nine-tailed fox clan was destroyed. She was defeated and died. Her soul entered the space-time turbulence and coincidentally came to the Nine Regions world to be reincarnated. Where are you from? We'll kill whoever killed you. Night Sorrow said. 13th brother, let's talk about this later. It's not the right time yet, Yi Mei said. What about you, Tianyu? After reaching the king's realm, did you get any information about your clan? Night Sorrow looked at Tianyu. Yes, but it's very melodramatic in the secular world. My father is a prince of the Green Rock clan and my mother is a Black Phoenix. Because they didn't approve, my parents were chased out of their respective clans and were even hunted down. They threw me into the Nine Regions world to grow up. It's that simple, Tianyu said. Hunted down? Is there any news? Night Sorrow asked anxiously. Don't worry, my memories are still sealed, but I can sense that my parents are safe and sound, Tianyu said. Tianyu Yimei, since you two call me Brother 13, then you are my younger brother and sister. If you have any problems, come and find me, Night Sorrow said. Tianyu and Yimei nodded. They knew how Night Sorrow felt about them. After leaving the god-slaying team, Night Sorrow went to the main tent and took out the military intelligence map. After taking a look, he decided to choose Martial Sacred Hall for the next battle. It was a battle of massacre. The behavior and style of the Martial Sacred Palace was completely different from the Heavenly Moon Pavilion. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion was fighting for the Shenwu Great World. They were fighting for the dignity of the Shenwu Great World. They only wanted to win and nothing else. However, the Martial Sacred Palace was not. They came for the sake of massacre. Their goal was not pure. Moreover, they would kill after conquering the territory. Jun Xuanji and the other generals also came to the main tent. They wanted to know Night Sorrow's plan. The battle of the Martial Sacred Palace should be in the Red Emperor's country. The Shenwu Great World knows that the Eastern District is the core of our reincarnation Great World. Therefore, all the armies are targeting this area, Jun Xuanji said. Then let's take care of them, Night Sorrow said. The most difficult person to deal with in the Martial Sacred Palace is Sha Chong Tian. However, this guy is different. He doesn't care about the matters of the army and doesn't command the battle. He only fights with our sovereigns at the beginning of the battle. After winning, he will leave. After that, he has nothing to do with us, Newlin said. I understand. He is a martial artist. After defeating him, he will have nothing to do with us. I will deal with this, Night Sorrow said. After that, the Nine Heavens army moved again. They arrived at the border city of the Red Emperor's country, Red Origin City. The overlords of the reincarnation Great World also arrived at Red Origin City. This was the place where the battle would change. Featherlord Qing Yan, have you seen your father in battle? Datura asked. No. Father has always been busy. We have been cultivating and training ourselves, Qing Yan said. Today you will be able to witness your father's massacre, Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea in the main tent. According to his estimation, the Martial Sacred Palace's army would arrive in the afternoon. The generals were also in the main tent, drinking tea and waiting for the battle. The main tent was made from the leather of the Black Mountain Cow. The Black Mountain Cow was a huge demonic beast. Its body was hundreds of feet long. Therefore, it was easy to make a tent that was hundreds of feet wide. Junior brother? Qing Lin and Qing Wan entered the main tent. Senior brother and senior sister, why are you here? Night Sorrow stood up and invited them to sit down. Why are you here? Recently, our army has been bullied to the point that we can't fight. We have been suppressed greatly. So, we came to watch you fight, Qing Lin said with a smile. All right. The battle will probably start in the afternoon, Night Sorrow said. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion left the reincarnation Great World. Junior brother, you took down a top faction in one battle, Qing Wan said. Night Sorrow shook his head. He then explained the reason. The top factions that joined later were only fighting for the Realm War. They were different from the Jianghu Dynasty, Martial Sacred Palace, and Poison King Valley. For the top factions that fought for the Realm War, if they lost, they lost. They could admit defeat. If they lost, they would return. However, the Jianghu Dynasty, Martial Sacred Palace, and Poison King Valley were different. They fought for their own interests and grudges. They would not give up until they could no longer hold on. Martial Sacred Palace sent 3 armies. Currently, the strongest is the Martial Sacred Palace army. That's because they have the Martial Sacred Palace General, Sha Chong Tian. After defeating Sha Chong Tian, the Martial Sacred Palace army won't have anything to worry about. Jun Xuanji handed Night Sorrow the information about the Martial Sacred Palace army. Today, I'm not just going to defeat Sha Chong Tian. I'm going to destroy the Martial Sacred Palace army. They are bloodthirsty. Let's kill them back, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow did not want to kill. However, there were times when he had to stop killing with killing. In the afternoon, the Martial Sacred Palace's Martial Sacred Palace army arrived. There were 6 armies. The 7 legions of the Nine Heavens Legion were arranged in 7 square formations. The Martial Sacred Palace army was very strong because of Sha Chong Tian. As long as the sovereign won the battle and defeated or killed the enemy's commander and general, the remaining soldiers would not have much combat power. This was also the reason why the Martial Sacred Palace army could keep attacking cities. The commander of the Martial Sacred Palace army was a man in silver armor. Beside him was a burly man in black armor with a saber on his back. He was the martial sacred palace's lord, Sha Chongtian. Knight Sorrow left the command tent and rode the ice Qilin to the front of the army. Sha Chongtian's body flashed and landed a mile away from Knight Sorrow. I heard that Knight Sorrow of the Qing Emperor's dynasty defeated the Qing Yi Marquis. Sha Chongtian will try. Sha Chongtian pulled out the saber on his back with his right hand. Knight Sorrow's right hand shook and the sky splitter appeared in his hand. His body flashed twice and rushed in front of Sha Chongtian. He waved his hand and used the Void Extreme Kill. Knight Sorrow did not intend to be polite today. He wanted to get rid of Sha Chongtian first and then destroy the martial sacred palace army. Knight Sorrow wanted to tell the world that the world of Samsara was not a place where anyone could attack. If they attacked, they would have to pay the price. Second update. Chapter 1385. Sha Chongtian waved his saber at Knight Sorrow. He already knew that Lin Qingyi was defeated and that there was an invincible monarch in the world of Samsara. Sha Chongtian had his own analysis of strength. He was similar to Lin Qingyi, but he was good at different things. Lin Qingyi's style was light and flexible, while his style was bold and domineering. Their weapons clashed and then they were separated by the recoil. Yishang retreated a few feet and Sha Chongtian retreated even further. Strong power. Sha Chongtian's power was much stronger than Lin Qingyi's. His attribute was similar to Sandalwood's, which was evil spirit with dark intent. Evil spirit was a branch of the destruction attribute. Sandalwood was a blood evil spirit, which was actually a fire evil spirit. Sha Chongtian was a dark evil spirit. After the first collision, they had a better understanding of each other's strength and attack strength. Then they continued to fight. Knight Sorrow was very confident. So what if black evil spirit had an attribute? It was a branch of the destruction attribute, but it was a branch after all. It was only between the advanced attribute and the supreme attribute. It could not be compared with the supreme attribute. As they fought, Knight Sorrow found that Sha Chongtian had also cultivated his body. Although he was not as strong as himself, he was much stronger than ordinary practitioners. After several rounds of probing, Knight Sorrow immediately used his killer move, Death Annihilation Slash, followed by Soul Annihilation Slash and Crescent Moon Blade. It's time. The battle is about to end. After testing his strength, Knight Sorrow will not fight with him anymore, Qing Emperor said. In fact, after testing Sha Chongtian's strength, Knight Sorrow did not want to waste more time. He wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. After the black light of death destruction cut appeared, Sha Chongtian knew something was wrong. He growled and a black light appeared on his head and body. After Knight Sorrow's great Death Annihilation Slash enveloped Sha Chongtian, the black light on his body spread out in all directions to resist this soul attack. Although it blocked the soul attack, it still affected time and space. Sha Chongtian's movement slowed down. At this time, Knight Sorrow's space splitting also came to him. Sha Chongtian's reaction was slow, so he only managed to avoid being hit in the head, but his body was pierced through by the space splitter. With his body heavily injured, Sha Chongtian let out a low roar and swept his battle saber towards Yishan. Knight Sorrow retreated, dodging the saber light attack. He then used Afterimage Body. His real body and Afterimage rushed forward, surrounding Sha Chongtian. His real body arrived behind Sha Chongtian and used Great Emperor Samsara Slash. Feeling the danger again, Sha Chongtian's body exploded with a bang, turning into a black fog, spreading in all directions. You are very strong. I have lost. I accept my loss wholeheartedly. I will go back and cultivate. I will come back to find you for another round in the future. A voice came from the black fog. Next, the black fog dispersed. This is the baleful chi body of the destruction branch. The price of using this move is similar to dying. The only difference is that the soul is intact, Sandalwood said. He also cultivated the destruction branch, so he knew very well. What are the levels of Father and his opponent? Spatial cracks kept appearing during the battle as if they were going to destroy everything, Yi Qinyan said in surprise. Later, Master Granny will tell you that the army war is about to begin, Misty Rain said. Divine Temple Army, you have been killing and plundering in the world of Samsara. Today we will not be polite. Nine Heavens Army, I am invincible. Kill. Knight Sorrow waved the space splitter and attacked the commander of the Divine Temple Army. The commander of the Divine Temple Army was dumbfounded. The battle between Knight Sorrow and Sha Chongtian was too fast. The army had just gained a foothold and the battle was already over. Sha Chongtian was defeated, thoroughly defeated. The members of the martial sacred hall knew very well what kind of person Sha Chongtian was. He was the strongest person under the martial sacred hall's sky pillar and had the record of killing a sovereign king. However, he was defeated now. Even if he was defeated, no one could deny Sha Chongtian's strength and ability. While the commander of the Divine Temple Army was still in a daze, Night Sorrow appeared in front of him and used the space splitter with the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash. Night Sorrow knew very well that Sha Chongtian and the commander of the Divine Temple Army were the two most important people. One was brave, the other was wise. Sha Chongtian was famous for his bravery and could kill the experts of the Divine Temple Army. The commander of the Divine Temple Army was the core of the army. With the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash, Night Sorrow sent the commander of the Divine Temple Army flying and chopped off one of his arms. Then, Night Sorrow used the space splitter with the death-shattering Slash, killing the commander of the Divine Temple Army. 2 moves, Night Sorrow killed the commander of the Divine Temple Army in just 2 moves. After Night Sorrow took the Legion commander's storage ring with his left hand, he charged into the ranks of the Divine Hall Legion and started killing. Night Sorrow did not fight blindly. He chose the toughest opponents and killed the opponent's monarch. If the opponent did not have a monarch, the Nine Heavens army would have no pressure. The only authentic version, the others were all. It was the pirated version. The strongest warrior of the Divine Temple Army, Sha Chongtian, was defeated. The commander of the Divine Temple Army was killed, and a few monarchs died in the hands of Night Sorrow. The soldiers of the Nine Heavens army were in high spirits. The 7 armies surrounded the Divine Temple Army and started to kill them. The atmosphere was completely opposite. Night Sorrow's battle effect destroyed the enemy's morale and raised the Nine Heavens army's battle intent. Therefore, the battle strength of the two sides was completely different. The members of the Divine Temple Army were killed continuously. Some of them had already knelt on the ground and raised their weapons to surrender. The Divine Temple Army that once suppressed all the armies of the reincarnation world is nothing in front of Night Sorrow, said the precious fragrance Heaven Lord. It was a one-sided massacre. The core of the Divine Temple Army was killed, and there was no commander left. They were scattered like sand. After fighting for 2 hours, except for a portion that escaped, most of the Divine Temple Army was killed. This was a battle of annihilation. Since the beginning of the Realm War, both sides had victories and losses. The Shinwu Great World had occupied a large territory, but they had not been able to destroy any army. Now that Night Sorrow had returned and led the Nine Heavens army to battle, the Divine Temple Army was heavily injured and almost completely destroyed. It could be said that the Divine Temple Army was destroyed. After the battle ended, Night Sorrow checked the losses and cleaned up the battlefield. He flew to the top of the city gate. Father, thank you for your hard work. Have some tea. Yi Qingyan poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, well done. The Divine Temple Army is destroyed. They were the most rampant before, but now they have been destroyed, said the Red Emperor. Not bad. The 2 battles with the Sky Moon Army and the Divine Temple Army will probably make the Shinwu Great World behave, said Night Sorrow. What do you plan to do next? Asked the Qing Emperor. He looked at Night Sorrow and asked, Wait here. I will lead the Nine Heavens army to set up camp here. If they can't take us down, they won't be able to continue the battle, so they will definitely attack, said Night Sorrow after drinking a mouthful of water. The 3rd update has arrived. There will be an explosion today. The update will be released at 3 in the afternoon, 7 in the afternoon, and 9 in the evening. Thank you for unblocking the 2 numbers. Chapter 1386. That was the truth. What they were fighting for now was momentum. Yi Shang had led the Nine Heaven army to take down the Sky Moon army and the Divine Temple army. This was to tell the 2 worlds that they were stronger than them. If they wanted to win the Realm War, they had to defeat them first. I'll stay here with the Nine Heavens army. Come. This was what Night Sorrow meant. Then what if their entire army comes? Red Emperor asked. That's simple. Our army will come as well. Now everyone better follow the plan. Otherwise I won't be polite. I'm also good at crooked methods, Night Sorrow said as he took a sip of tea. Then inform all the armies to reinforce Scarlet Origin City at any time, Qing Emperor said. After communicating with the Heaven Masters present, Night Sorrow returned to the camp. Nu Lin, how are our losses? Night Sorrow asked. There aren't many losses. Our Nine Heavens army has been fighting, and our combined attacks are very effective. There are some injuries but very few deaths, Nu Lin reported. That's good. We'll set up camp here and wait for them to come and kill us, Night Sorrow said. Nu Lin and the others nodded. They understood Night Sorrow's thoughts. At this time, the news of Night Sorrow's 2 victories had already spread. The morale of the realm of reincarnation was soaring. At the Thunder Cliff, Heaven Lord Shinhu had also called for a meeting. The Sky Moon Pavilion isn't very brave. They retreated after being defeated once. Now let's not talk about our losses. The main thing is that our morale has dropped. We have to fight back, Heaven Lord Shinhu said. #C*original plus L chapter. Heaven Lord Shinhu wore a golden battle armor. His golden hair draped behind his head, and his eyes shone with an ominous light. He was a mutated beast, the heaven-devouring tiger. He had always been able to fight above his level. However, this time he hadn't been able to defeat Dachura. He had a very strong reputation in the Shenwu Great World. Even those who weren't part of the Martial War Alliance didn't dare to provoke him. He was overbearing and unreasonable. We have to destroy Night Sorrow and the Nine Heavens army. Only then can we advance, Heaven Lord Shinhu said. Heaven Lord Shinhu, Night Sorrow and the Nine Heavens army are camped in Scarlet Origin City. Our sovereigns and armies will charge over there and crush them. Martial God Shiyang said. He was furious because Sha Chongtian was the disciple of the Martial God Palace's palace master. He had invited him out, but now he was heavily injured. Tiger. Flying. Heaven Lord. That was the truth. After Night Sorrow defeated the Marquis of Light and Sha Chongtian, his original body cultivating in the Samsara Palace had benefited. He had benefited twice, and each time his light of merit had become more exuberant. Night Sorrow had the foundation of the body of merit, which was different from the others. Others who participated in the realm war only had merit for the world of Samsara, but it was not merit. The only benefit was the blessing of fate. However, Night Sorrow had the blessing of the light of merit. Night Sorrow's doppelganger also had a change. His original body didn't feel anything, but Night Sorrow's doppelganger felt very strong. This result made Night Sorrow very happy. If this continued, his light of virtue in the world of reincarnation would also level up. He would become a light of virtue saint. Night Sorrow was a light of virtue saint in the 9 domains world, but not in the world of reincarnation. If he was a light of virtue saint in the world of reincarnation, then he would be very powerful. Night Sorrow knew that the light of virtue saint was not the end of the light of virtue body. The light of virtue body was the lowest level after cultivating the heart and virtue. Next was the light of virtue saint, light of virtue supreme saint, and light of virtue heaven lord. At the level of light of virtue supreme saint, it didn't belong to a certain world. It belonged to the entire Great Thousand World. It wasn't the recognition of the world's origin, but the recognition of the Great Thousand World's heavenly Tao. Even if the light of virtue saint didn't have cultivation, he was still a king among saints. Even without cultivation, saints and saint kings were no match for him. The light of virtue supreme saint was equivalent to the same level as the king and the monarch. His words were the law. His words were the will and rules of the heavenly Tao. The light of virtue heaven lord was a level beyond the level of cultivation. Cultivating one's heart and morals usually started from a young age. Night Sorrow started from the 9 regions world, and then he started from the 9 firmament world, and now the reincarnation great world. Night Sorrow felt that it was about time. With one more light of virtue, he would be able to become a saint in the world of reincarnation. At this time, in the backyard of Scarlet Origin City's City Lord Mansion, Yi Qingyan brewed some tea. Mistress, can you tell us about my father's situation? We don't know and we don't understand. He's too good of a son and daughter. Then are you ready? Let me tell you about the world. A low-level world uses a high-level world as its core. A group of high-level worlds forms a world group. The core of a high-level world group is a great world. Our world group uses the reincarnation great world as its core. Your father is the fastest cultivator in the reincarnation great world for countless years, said Heavenly Monarch Yufei. Ah. The most outstanding cultivator in the world of reincarnation for countless years? Yi Yujun was dumbfounded. Yes. In the history of the world of reincarnation, the fastest cultivator to become a king was 300 years. The fastest cultivator to become a monarch was 130,000 years. Do you know how old your father is now? Qing Emperor asked with a smile. 130 years. But with time acceleration he can cultivate faster. Yi Qingyan said. Time acceleration is a rule, a space-time rule. It has nothing to do with one's age in the real world. In other words, your father became a monarch in 130 years. Also, he cultivated the body of virtue and virtue. Now, do you understand what it means to help your father? Qing Emperor smiled at Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan. Father is a monarch? He's at the same level as Monarch Shen Tian of the mysterious sky world and Monarch Xin Shao of the nine-cloud world? Yi Qingyan was astonished. Don't judge it like that. It's not the same thing. Monarch Shen Tian and Monarch Xin Shao are stronger, but they're only at the middle level of monarchs. Your father can kill high-level monarchs as easily as taking something out of his pocket. The man in black armor today is the monarch of the martial sacred palace. He's known as the invincible monarch. You saw the result of his battle with your father. Qing Emperor said with a smile. Knight Sorrow was not only the pride of his children, but also the pride of his master. Father is so powerful now, but why doesn't he tell us? Yi Qingyan whispered. Your father doesn't have it easy. He doesn't tell you because he doesn't want you to bear the pressure. Said. Fourth watch. Chapter 1387. Yes. Because your father thinks that as long as he does well, you will have a stable sky and an environment where you can live in peace. He doesn't want you to feel pressured, Misty Rain said. Father's life is too hard. In order to have the right to speak in this world, one has to be a leader. Father has to suffer, Yi Qingyan murmured. Her heart ached for her father. Ah, right to speak? Your father already has it. Your father has an undefeated record against leaders. Qing Emperor, Misty Rain, let me bring these two kids to have dinner with their father. Let's go together. Datura said after entering the courtyard. Qing Emperor and Misty Rain nodded. Datura arranged a banquet in the tent of the military camp. Qing Lin and Qing Wan were there as well. Have you two mobilized the army? The war might break out at any time, Qing Emperor asked as he looked at his children. Qing Emperor only sat down after getting an affirmative answer. During dinner, everyone chatted casually. Qing Wan told Qing Yin and Yu Jun about Night Sorrow's past, as they were more interested in Night Sorrow's past. Night Sorrow stopped her, but Qing Emperor felt that it was necessary to tell his children so that they could understand some things. Father, you're so amazing. Why didn't you tell us? Yi Qingyin, who was sitting beside Night Sorrow, said with tears in her eyes. All along, she and Yi Yujun had thought that everything was fine with their father being the Imperial Highness of the Azure Emperor Empire. However, the truth was that there were too many difficulties behind the scenes. Now, they understood how many hardships there were behind the imposing figure who could carry the sky. Don't think too much. Just be yourselves. Seeing that you two are doing well, any effort I put in is worth it. Night Sorrow patted Yi Qingyin's shoulder. Look at what little Jay said. After the banquet was over, Qing Emperor and Misty Rain left with Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan. It wasn't appropriate for them to stay in the barracks because they didn't know when a battle would break out. Night Sorrow took out the 9 heavy armor and planned to repair it. The 9 heavy armor was damaged during the battle with Hu Shao and the other 2 sovereigns. Over the past few years, he had been imprisoned by Datura Chinensis. His dantian was sealed so he could not repair the 9 heavy armor. He felt that in 2 or 3 days the Xinwu Great World would mobilize troops. There would not be any war, so he took the time to fix it. Before, Wu Lingfei had given him the Golden Phoenix soft armor. For a period of time, he couldn't use it because Wu Lingfei's life treasure as a Saint King couldn't support King's battle. Now that Wu Lingfei was king, the Golden Phoenix soft armor's level naturally increased. This was because Night Sorrow, who was already an advanced heavenly master blacksmith, was capable of repairing a monarch weapon. King weapons were divided into beginner king weapons, intermediate king weapons, and advanced king weapons. Monarch weapons were actually top king weapons. The weapons and armor used by heaven masters were also at this level. Night Sorrow used half a day to repair the 9 heavy armor. Then Night Sorrow sensed his own situation. With the increase in light of virtue, his soul defense had become stronger. It could be said that he was immune to some soul attacks. Cultivator's fatal injuries usually came from 2 places, the soul and the body. Now Night Sorrow felt that he had no problems with both. His body's toughness was at the peak of the Star Monarch rank. With the support of the power of Desolates, even monarchs and high-level monarchs couldn't pierce through his body. As for soul defense, Night Sorrow had the 9-region origin pearl. It was a treasure that protected the soul. Outside of the deity ocean, there was also light of virtue. This was his defense. Of course, there were many factors that determined the outcome of a battle, such as speed, strength, elemental restriction, and the power of absolute skills. Night Sorrow was organizing what he had learned every day. Nu Lin and the others were still training the soldiers. The main focus was on formation attack. With formation attack, both offense and defense could be combined. One day, when Night Sorrow was trying to guide the light of virtue into his body to cultivate, Sandalwood came with 2 jars of wine. "Junior brother, I'm here," Sandalwood said after entering the tent. "Senior brother, take a seat." "I've been busy recently, so I haven't had the chance to talk to you," Night Sorrow greeted him. "I know you're busy, so I came to give you wine. I feel that there are gains and losses in life. I've always wanted to fight side by side with you. Of course, it's worth celebrating that you've become a Sky Master, but I've lost the opportunity, haven't I?" Sandalwood said. "There will be another chance. I can't fight at a lower level. Besides, the Monarch realm isn't the end of my cultivation," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "That's right. When you become a Sky Master, we'll fight side by side. We can go anywhere in the world. We'll kill anyone who disagrees," Sandalwood said with a smile. This was Sandalwood's dominance. "You're right, senior brother." Night Sorrow nodded. After opening the jar and drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, Sandalwood asked Night Sorrow what would happen next. "Senior apprentice brother, the main thing is to watch my battle with Prince Jianghu. If I defeat him, then they will either cease their banners and cease their drums and engage in small-scale harassment battles, or they will erupt into a battle of the highest level." Night Sorrow spoke of his own feelings and judgment. "Junior brother, you can fight Mandala Shura without losing. This shows your strength. No matter how strong Prince Jianghu is, he can't win against the Sky Master, right? That's why I have confidence in you. Also, the world of Samsara isn't afraid of the Sky Master. So what? The Dark Dominator can suppress him. As for the other Sky Masters, I can kill whoever I want. They know the difference in strength, so they won't do it easily. We have fewer Sky Masters, but Origin Dao Heavenly Lord can fight at any time. He sent a letter to Master so he can send a message whenever he's needed. He's also a powerful Sky Master," Sandalwood said. Just as Night Sorrow and Sandalwood were talking, Jun Xuanji entered the tent. "Commander, there's someone outside the camp. It's the commander of the Yuanchu army. That's a guest. I'll go and welcome him." Night Sorrow stood up. Night Sorrow had interacted with Origin Dao Heavenly Lord before, and he had the map to Origin Dao Heavenly Lord. Therefore, he had a good impression of Origin Dao Heavenly Lord. Outside the camp, Night Sorrow saw a man in golden armor. "Yu Feng greets your Highness Night Sorrow." The man in golden armor cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. "Commander Yu Feng, you're too courteous. Please come in." Night Sorrow invited the man in golden armor, who was Yu Feng, into the main tent. "Yu Feng greets Lord Blood Emperor." Yu Feng immediately bowed when he saw Sandalwood. Although Blood Emperor Sandalwood was a newly ascended Heavenly Lord, he was already a mainstay of the world of Samsara. "No need to be so courteous. I used to be a commander of an army. I happen to have some wine. Come, let's drink." Sandalwood nodded at Yu Feng. "All right, Yu Feng, tell me why you're here." "It's like this. Master has already sent a message for Yu Feng to listen to your Highness' orders. Even if the entire army is wiped out, we can't go against your Highness' orders," Yu Feng said. "Why would the Heavenly Lord make such an arrangement?" Night Sorrow was stunned. "But here's the 5th update. There are thousands of people reading books every day, but less than 1,000 people log in to read books. If you don't log in, you won't be able to sign in or rub elbows. How can there be data for becoming a god through 10,000 paths? I'm working very hard. I don't need everyone's financial support. I just need to do my best. If you like becoming a god through 10,000 paths, you have to do something. I'm an author, so I'll do my best. Brothers and sisters, please move your fingers. Log in, sign in, and rub elbows. The next update will be at 5 p.m. Chapter 1388. There must be a reason for Master's arrangement. I'll just carry it out. Besides, I'm excited to be able to fight alongside His Highness. It's been too stressful recently. We monarchs can't beat them and the army can't fight. Although we're not afraid of death, we can't let our soldiers die for nothing," said Yu Feng. "We're all leaders. It's our duty to cherish our soldiers. They're all brothers. I understand. Come, let's drink." Night Sorrow took out 2 jars of wine. Night Sorrow drank all the wine he had in the black water space. However, there was still some in Sky City and Aoi gave him some. After drinking, Yu Feng went to gather the army. All the armies in the world of Samsara were gathering in Red Origin City. Yu Feng is quite capable. He managed the Yuanchu army well. The strongest army is the 9 Heaven Army, followed by the Demon Blood Army and Yuanchu Army. Yu Feng's fighting ability is weaker, but he's good at staying alive. Many monarchs were killed by Prince Jianghu, but he managed to stay alive under Prince Jianghu's attack. This is enough to show that he's not ordinary, said Sandalwood. Night Sorrow wasn't around for a few years, so he didn't know much. However, Sandalwood knew everything. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. It's fine as long as they're outstanding. Night Sorrow nodded. Junior brother, it's up to you now, said Sandalwood. My battle with Prince Jianghu might be the turning point of the realm war. If we can defeat him, Shinwu Great World won't be able to do much in the world of Samsara. Then it's time for us to strike. They've been attacking us for 5 or 6 years. It's time for us to fight back, said Night Sorrow. Fight back? Yes, we have to fight back. It's not in our nature to be passive. We have to fight back. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sandalwood was excited. He stood up and waved his arms. Then he sighed and sat down. Night Sorrow asked in confusion. So what if he's a Sky Master? I feel that even if he's a monarch, it's good enough that he can fight side by side with his brothers, Sandalwood said. He knew that there weren't many occasions when Sky Masters fought against each other. After all, the implications were too great. Senior brother, there's no rush. We have time to fight side by side. Night Sorrow understood Sandalwood. Sandalwood was a casual person. Soon after, Datura entered the tent. He wasn't surprised to see Sandalwood. Because Night Sorrow cared about Night Sorrow's feelings, she got along well with Qing Emperor, Misty Rain, and Sandalwood. Lord Ruler, you're here. Have a seat, Sandalwood greeted. Blood Emperor, you can call me whatever you call Chuyu and the others. Datura cupped his hands towards Jean Tan. That's not good. Sandalwood shook her head. Although they were Sky Masters at the same level now, Datura had suppressed a region for countless years. He should be considered a senior. There's nothing bad about it. Night Sorrow, this is all the information on Prince Jianghu. You defeated Qing Yi Marquis and Sha Chong Tian. Prince Jianghu and the others must have studied you. You should know more about them too, Datura said as he sat down. And thank you for your hard work, Night Sorrow said with a smile. You're too polite with me. Also, Yao Shui and Sha Shui will report to you tomorrow. The Sha Shui army and Devil Blood army will be under your command. Datura threw out another sentence. Is that appropriate? I can lead the Nine Heavens army and fight against them. Night Sorrow looked away from the materials and looked at Datura. What are you thinking? It's not because you're my husband. It's because the army needs your command. Do you think I'm living off you? Can you stop joking? Datura said with a smile. I have to hand it to the two of you. What level are you at? Why are you still talking about living off me? Sandalwood couldn't help but laugh. All right then. The war is imminent. It'll be much more convenient to have a few armies to work with me. If the Nine Heavens army fights alone, we'll suffer great losses. I won't be able to rest easy. Night Sorrow nodded. In fact, he was worried. If it weren't for the many armies working together, the Nine Heavens army wouldn't be able to hold on. Even if they could, they would suffer great losses. Those were his brothers. After Sandalwood left, Datura and Night Sorrow chatted for a while before leaving as well. Night Sorrow started cultivating. His current body was the indestructible body. He planned to create his own technique and cultivate the true indestructible golden body. The first level of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome was the indestructible body, also known as the indestructible golden body. Actually, it was not the golden body. The golden body of merit was the real golden body. Therefore, he planned to integrate the light of merit into his body. That way, when combined with the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome, he would have the real indestructible golden body. Night Sorrow tried to drive the golden light of virtue into his body. Slowly, it worked with the power of desolates to circulate throughout his body. After cultivating the 8 trigrams of virtue, Night Sorrow gained some insights. However, he felt that it wasn't enough. The golden light of virtue could only protect his spirit sea. If he wanted to protect his body, it wasn't enough. Look at the original version. Chapter Super Night Sorrow stood up and cultivated an array outside the tent. At this moment someone came in. Yao Shui, Shi Shui, Akatsuki, Yu Feng, and another person, Chiu He, was the commander of the Sima army in the Sima residence. The commanders of the various armies in the world of Samsara had all arrived. They had all received instructions from their leaders to listen to Night Sorrow's orders. Brothers, I won't be polite. Everyone prepare for battle. Commander Yu Feng, lead the Yuanshu army and Nine Heavens army to face the enemy head-on. The Skyheart army and Sima army will be on the left. The bloodthirsty army and black demon army will be on the right. Knight Sorrow said. Sir, don't be like this. What will the Yao Shui army do then? We are very strong. The Yao Shui army commander, who looked like a gentleman, was a little anxious because there was no mission for them. Of course there is a mission. I know the Yao Shui army. The soldiers of the Yao Shui army have all cultivated the wind travel technique. They are the fastest. If there are any changes, you will cut off the enemy's retreat. Knight Sorrow looked at the Yao Shui army and said, Okay. The mission will be completed. The Yao Shui army said, Xuanji, take out the formation diagrams for the combined attack. Give the formation diagrams for the 3-person and 4-person combined attacks to the commanders. The Dark Abyss army has cultivated these 2 formations before, so give them the 5-person combined attack formation diagrams. Let them cultivate as much as they can in the next 2 days, Yi Shang said to Jun Xuanji. Okay. Jun Xuanji nodded. She knew that this was Knight Sorrow's big picture vision. He was willing to contribute. Okay, you all go and make the arrangements now. I will go and make some arrangements. Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow planned to use the formation battle during the army battle. He planned to first eliminate a portion of the Xinwu Great World's army strength. This way, when they attacked the Xinwu Great World, there would be much less resistance. After instructing the commanders to make the arrangements, Knight Sorrow rode the ice Qilin and left. Then he estimated the location and began to set up the formation. The Azure Supreme, the Arch, and the others looked at Yi Shang's deployment and did not express any opinions. The 6th update has arrived. Chapter 1389. Knight Sorrow estimated the position the 9 Heavens army could occupy based on their current positions. Then he started to set up the formation. Knight Sorrow rode the Ice Qilin to set up the spell formations. It took him only half a day to finish setting up the Heaven Sealing Trapping and Killing spell formations and the Heaven Sealing Illusionary Killing spell formations. Seeing that there were no problems, Knight Sorrow called back Xia Cheng, Xian Daozi, and Shengguan Hong, who were standing guard outside. Uncles, let's go back and drink some tea, Knight Sorrow called out. I want to drink some good tea, Summer City said with a laugh. The tense atmosphere before the battle was nowhere to be seen. After returning to the command tent and drinking some tea, Knight Sorrow went to check on the various camps. Seeing that everyone was cultivating their joint attack formations, Knight Sorrow did not disturb them. He returned to the main tent and continued cultivating. Currently, Knight Sorrow had many ways to increase his strength, but he could not do so. He could refine the soul cultivation liquid, but his main body was in a state of enlightenment. He could not do anything else. While Knight Sorrow was cultivating, the various armies were preparing for war. Inside Scarlet Origin City Lord's office, spies were constantly coming in to report the situation. After summarizing the information, Qing Emperor looked at the other Heaven Masters and said, Knight Sorrow's calculations were correct. The other side did not continue fighting elsewhere. Their forces are now gathered in Three Peak City. Their next target is Scarlet Origin City. Knight Sorrow defeated Lin Qingyi and Sha Chongtian. This is a signal. If we don't fight and take down Knight Sorrow, then the following attacks will be useless. We won't be able to win the war. If we don't deal with Knight Sorrow and the 9 Heaven Army, no matter how much territory you conquer, our world of samsara will still take it back, Sima Tianqing said. What's going on? A world war between 2 worlds and we can only watch as a youngster carries the burden. This is simply unacceptable, Red Emperor said. Capable people do more work. If he can do it, others can't. What can we do? Sima Tianqing said. This is a hurdle for our world of samsara. It is also a hurdle for Knight Sorrow's team. We know that Knight Sorrow is strong, but Prince Jian, who is also an undefeated monarch. Many of our monarchs have been killed by him, and this is under the circumstances that we are fighting conservatively. If we fight fiercely, who knows how many of our monarchs will die? Misty Rain said. Everyone knew of Knight Sorrow's strength, but Prince Jian, whose strength was not to be underestimated. He was the world's #1 monarch, an undefeated monarch. At this moment, in the study room of the City Lord residence in Three Peak City, Heaven Monarch Xin Hu and Prince Jian Hu were talking. Son, you have to be careful. That Knight Sorrow is not simple. Up until now, no one has figured it out. If I'm not wrong, he has the Void attribute. As for which branch he belongs to, it's hard to say. So you have to be careful. Kill him, and then our Xinwu Great World's offensive will be able to develop. Prince Jian Hu said. For countless years, there had not been a complete supreme attribute born, so Prince Jian Hu did not think in that direction. I understand. If I can contribute to the world war, I will be able to receive the blessings of the Shenwu Great World. Then I might be able to improve. Prince Jianghu said. That's right. The blessings of luck are very important. This time father made a mistake. He did not think that the opponent's Death Master and Blood Emperor Sandalwood would be so strong. It will be difficult for us Heaven Masters to win this war. So we can only rely on you and the army. Prince Jianghu said. There were more Heaven Masters in the Shenwu Great World than in the Reincarnation Great World. However, in terms of individual battle strength, Datura and Sandalwood were strong. The Qing Emperor and Sima Tianqing were not to be trifled with either. There was also another strong Prince Yuan Dao who had not yet joined the battle. Knight Sorrow was also studying Prince Jianghu's situation. After looking at the information, Knight Sorrow was stunned. Prince Jianghu's willpower and attributes were similar to his. Lord God, who was a heaven-devouring tiger who had attained the Tao through cultivation. His son and grandson had extremely strong cultivation talent and also had absolute arts. The absolute art's name was Heaven-Devouring. The Heaven-Devouring tiger's attribute was time, and the absolute art was a space-time absolute art. They had a space in their bodies. If they were attacked by their absolute art and could not block it, they would be sucked into their internal space and be annihilated. Even if they were not sucked into their internal space, they would still be affected and killed. Knight Sorrow thought for a while. He felt that he had the will of space-time, time and space attributes. The opponent's absolute art would not affect him much. In addition, the Heaven-Devouring tiger's speed and strength were also very strong. However, Knight Sorrow was not afraid of them. Strength was his forte. With a space attribute protective shield, Knight Sorrow was not afraid of anyone in terms of speed. Commander, the people from the Shenwu Great World have arrived. However, they are moving slowly. They are advancing steadily and are integrating as they advance. They should arrive in 2 days. Jun Xuanji entered the tent and reported the information he had received. 2 days? That's fine. The Reincarnation Great World's army's combined attacks should be somewhat effective, Knight Sorrow said. Isn't it a little rushed? Jun Xuanji asked. It's fine. It's not difficult to cultivate the combined attacks of 3 and 4 people. These soldiers are all very high level. It's not a problem for them to cultivate the combined attacks. Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow did not hide anything and took out the combined attacks because he did not want to see too many people die. He also wanted to prepare for a counterattack. The current battlefield was in the Reincarnation World. To the Reincarnation World there was no way they could win. Therefore, Knight Sorrow planned to kill his way out after resolving the war in the Reincarnation World. When the war started, Knight Sorrow's plan to send a Heaven Master to the Shenwu Great World to attack the War Tiger Empire's main city had been put on hold. This was because no one wanted to start a war between Heaven Masters. If they fought, both sides would have no bottom line and the war would be out of control. If there's nothing else, I'll continue to collect information. You be careful, Jun Xuanji said and left the command tent. At this moment, Qing Lin and Qing Wan came and entered the tent. Junior brother, why didn't you give us a mission? Qing Lin asked. Even if you didn't come, I would have looked for you. Men, informed the commander of the Red Emperor's empire, Chiwa, to come over. Knight Sorrow said to the messenger soldier at the door. After Chiwa came, Knight Sorrow told him his second plan. Senior sister Qing Wan, senior brother Qing Lin, Prince Chiwa, I've received news that the Shenwu Great World's army has gathered at the Three Peak City. This means that they have no time to care about other places. The 3 of you will lead the army to battle and conquer the areas that the Reincarnation World has occupied, Knight Sorrow said. Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and Chiwa all wanted to see how Knight Sorrow would fight to the death with the War Tiger Prince. However, Knight Sorrow had given them a mission and they had to carry it out. After Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and Chiwa left, Knight Sorrow continued to study the use of the Light of Merit. The conquest battle had begun. Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and Chiwa led their troops and began to conquer the occupied areas. Head Z issue the people of the Shenwu Great World didn't react when they received the news because that wasn't important. Only the battle at Red Origin City could change the situation. But the 7th update has arrived. There are still 3 updates to be completed before 10 o'clock. Chapter 1390. Knight Sorrow didn't react to the arrival of the Shenwu Great World's army. The various armies were already fully prepared for war. Knight Sorrow was concerned about whether the formation he had set up had been discovered. The Shenwu Great World's army was advancing at an extremely slow speed. They were integrating their forces as they advanced. Integration was an indispensable part of a joint battle. Night Sorrow had already completed the integration of the Reincarnation World's army. However, the Shinwu Great World's army still needed time to integrate. Previously they were all fighting individually. Now that they needed a large-scale joint battle, they needed to be integrated and mobilized. Everyone knew that the Battle of Scarlet Origin City would be recorded in history. It was a heavy stroke because this battle would change the situation of the war. Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. Perhaps the opponent's army's combat strength would increase after they were integrated. However, this situation also existed in the Reincarnation World's army. Moreover, the Reincarnation World's army's combat strength had more room for improvement compared to the Shinwu Great World's army. This was because they were all cultivating the joint attack formation. The Reincarnation World's army was stationed outside Scarlet Origin City. The Heaven Masters were all on the city gate. If it wasn't a battle between Heaven Masters, they could only watch without any room to make a move. When Night Sorrow wasn't around, they had to make arrangements for the army's mobilization. Now that these matters were handed over to Night Sorrow, they didn't care and didn't ask about it. Qing Emperor, our Sima Manor has benefited from you this time. After learning your joint attack formation, we will definitely make it up to you in the future. Sima Tianqing said. Red Emperor and Li Badian also had the same thoughts. The joint attack formation wasn't that difficult, but no one had researched it. Now that their army was cultivating the joint attack formation, it was a favor. Actually, the level of the joint attack formation isn't very high. However, I've seen it and its effects are indeed very strong. Why didn't I think of this problem before? Red Emperor said. You have to return this favor to Night Sorrow. The joint attack formation is his, not mine. Qing Emperor said. His combat strength is outstanding, and his style of doing things is domineering. With such a personality he can still study array formations? Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance said in astonishment. Not only is he good at research but he's also very accomplished. He's already an advanced Heavenly Adept Array Master. He's also an artifact refiner and alchemist, Qing Emperor said with a smile. All-round development. That is very tiring. However, if you achieve something you don't have to ask for help, the Red Emperor said with a smile. Then I'll show off to you guys. Night Sorrow is also an advanced Heavenly Adept Weapon Forger and Alchemist. You guys can go to him if you need anything, but if you want to work for him, you'll have to pay the price, Qing Emperor said. Qing Emperor, when it comes to recruiting disciples, no one can compare to you. Sima Tianqing said with a smile. How many disciples have each of you taken in? Took me so many years to get to. It's not easy, the Qing Emperor said. Seeing that the enemy's army was advancing slowly, Night Sorrow ignored them and returned to his tent to continue cultivating the indestructible golden body of merit. Although he didn't have enough light of merit, Night Sorrow's body had been baptized by the light of merit. His energy circulation was also filled with a majestic aura. On this day Night Sorrow had just finished cultivating when a guest came. It was the Marquis of Qingyi, Lin Qingyi from the Shinwu Great World's Heavenly Moon Pavilion. What are you doing here? Night Sorrow asked Lin Qingyi after hearing Jun Xuanji's report. To watch the battle. Lin Qingyi spat out 2 words. That's because it's appropriate to go there, right? Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. It's not appropriate. Because the Heavenly Moon Pavilion withdrew from the realm war, they are now more hostile towards each other. What? Don't you have the magnanimity and courage to do so? Lin Qingyi, who was wearing a red robe and a white veil, asked. Yes, please. Night Sorrow nodded. He saw that Lin Qingyi's eyes were very clear and felt that she didn't have any ulterior motives. Night Sorrow brought Lin Qingyi to the command tent and made a pot of tea. He didn't say anything. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion has all retreated and won't participate in the realm war. So you don't have to look at me with hostility. I'm here to see if the first monarch of the world of Samsara or the Shinwu Great World is more powerful, Lin Qingyi said. You'll be viewed as an enemy. People in the Shinwu Great World will think that you're a traitor. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Qingyi and said. I have a clear conscience. I don't care. Lin Qingyi said. If you don't care, I don't care either. Xuanji, since you're here, you're a guest. I'll arrange accommodation for you next to your tent later, Night Sorrow joked. Night Sorrow didn't care about Lin Qingyi. Lin Qingyi stayed in the 9 Heavens Army's camp alone. Night Sorrow knew that she wasn't a spy and didn't ask about it. She could do whatever she wanted. After a day, while Night Sorrow was reading information about the Shinwu Great World, Lin Qingyi came to Night Sorrow's command tent. She made tea for herself and poured a cup for Night Sorrow. If you can take down Prince Jianghu, you'll win the realm war if there are no changes. Starter square root, hee, how did you come to such a conclusion? Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Your Nine Heavens army is very strong. No other army in the Jianghu Great World can compare to it. Whether it's power or spirit, it's all on point, Lin Qingyi said. Thank you for your praise of my brother. Yi Shan cupped his hands towards Lin Qingyi. I'm just speaking the truth. After the war, you can come to the Jianghu Great World. I, Lin Qingyi, will take care of you, Lin Qingyi said. I have to go. The war won't end so easily, Knight Sorrow said. You want to fight? Lin Qingyi was stunned when she heard Knight Sorrow's words. She thought of something. Since you've guessed it, I won't hide it from you. Do you think we'll just take a beating and be done with it? Either they completely defeat us or they don't defeat us and beat us up and then they just walk away? That's impossible, Knight Sorrow said. That's the reason. I have nothing to say. Lin Qingyi sighed. If Tianyue Pavilion doesn't join in, I can make the decision that the Reincarnation World's army won't enter Tianyue Pavilion's territory, Knight Sorrow said. Tianyue Pavilion doesn't do shameless things. A loss is a loss. If you kill without a bottom line, we won't do anything. My master's side will also have the same attitude, Lin Qingyi said. Alright, you can watch the war as a VIP. If the Jianghu dynasty and Martial Sacred Palace want to fight, I'll fight with them to the end, Knight Sorrow said. What kind of grudge do you have against each other? Why would they join forces to fight? In the end, the grudge war turned into a realm war, Lin Qingyi asked. It's a long story. The Martial Sacred Hall wanted to seize the treasure. Back then, a few forces from the world of reincarnation launched an attack on the Azure Emperor dynasty. As for the Jianghu dynasty, I can only say that they're shameless. They wanted to marry the princess of the Qing Emperor's dynasty by force. Who do they think they are? They're asking for a beating, Knight Sorrow said angrily. But the first watch arrived. Chapter 1391. After being stunned for a moment, Lin Qingyi asked for the details. Knight Sorrow didn't hide anything. He told her about the conflict between Lord of Heaven Fierce Tiger and the Qing Emperor during his wedding, as well as the declaration of war by the Martial Sacred Palace. What a disgrace. You really deserve a beating, Lin Qingyi said with a cold face. Therefore this war must be fought. Knight Sorrow nodded. He didn't expect that there would be people in the Jianghu Great World who could understand him. Then may I ask, since the Martial Sacred Hall has declared war on you, do you have a Heavenly Tao artifact? If you do, let me see it. I definitely don't have any disloyalty. I just haven't seen it before, Lin Qingyi said. It is indeed the heavenly artifact, but it is incomplete. It has the effect of accelerating time. My original body is using it to cultivate, so you can't see it for the time being. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. There was nothing he couldn't say. He could survive in the face of a heaven master. Who could kill him and snatch it? This isn't your original body? No matter how strong the doppelganger is, it is only a part of the original body's combat strength. If the doppelganger is so strong, then the original body must be even more powerful. The gap between us is huge. Lin Qingyi sized up Knight Sorrow. You are going to fight with your original body? Aren't you afraid of being destroyed? Knight Sorrow asked Lin Qingyi. I am not afraid. I have life-saving means. Even if I encounter a strong enemy and get killed, I can protect my soul. Although I am seriously injured and need a long time to reconstruct my body to recover my cultivation, it is still a guarantee, Lin Qingyi said. My original body needs to cultivate and comprehend will. Therefore, I can only send my doppelganger to fight, Knight Sorrow said. In fact, the original body and doppelganger could be detected by soul inspection. However, it was impolite to do so rashly. Generally, no one would do so. If there is a chance, I will see your heavenly artifact. Let's see how you fare in this battle. Lin Qingyi nodded. I have to say that your position is very dangerous. If you are here, it won't be good if the people of the Jianghu Great World see you. Maybe you don't care, but it will bring a lot of trouble. For the sake of the gentleman's battle, I will remind you to disguise yourself, Knight Sorrow said to Lin Qingyi. Look at Jie Jingji, version of chapter, section 1. Lin Qingyi thought about it and nodded. She understood what Knight Sorrow said. After that, Jun Xuanji left with Lin Qingyi and went to another tent to rest. Knight Sorrow drank tea and pondered. For example, if War Tiger Prince and his doppelganger were to fight together, the battle would be a bit more difficult. Exhaling, Knight Sorrow stood up. So what? He wasn't even afraid of the mandala, so why would he be afraid of him? After calming down, Night Sorrow began to cultivate the invincible golden body. After 5 days of peace, the army of Shinwu Great World arrived outside Red Origin City and faced off against the army of Samsara Great World. The Shinwu Great World Legion was located in the area where Night Sorrow had set up the formation. Uncles, you know the area where I set up the formation. After the battle starts, don't worry about anything else. Just insert 2 spirit stones into the formation and the formation will be activated, Night Sorrow said to Summer City, Shangguanhong, and Xian Daozi. The 3 from Summer City nodded. They knew that the real bloody battle was coming. It was the core battle of this realm war. Datura came to Night Sorrow's side and said, "Be careful during the battle. There's no need to go all out. You still have a lot of room for improvement. You still have a lot of clones to fight and your battle strength isn't at its peak." "Ayuo, don't worry. It's true that I'm using a clone to fight, but not just anyone can injure me. Go tell my master and the others that I'm going to be ruthless this time, so their heaven overlords might interfere," said Yishan. Night Sorrow was worried about this. When the Shinwu Great World Legion suffered heavy losses, the other party's heaven masters might interfere. Datura nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow was going to be ruthless this time. If the other party couldn't withstand it, it would be a huge loss for them. After that, Datura went to communicate with the other heaven masters. "What do you mean? Are you worried that the other party's heaven masters will interfere if the other party suffers heavy losses?" Sima Tianqing looked at Datura and asked. "Yes, so we have to make some preparations." Datura nodded. "This is a good thing. Our main body and clones are all here. If Night Sorrow can succeed, then we have to consolidate our strength," Misty Rain said. Night Sorrow was very calm. He also notified the various army commanders to prepare for battle. "Are you very calm?" Lin Qingyi came to Night Sorrow's side and asked. "Not really. I'm very excited. There aren't many fighters like this. I don't care about fame, but I want to know who's the first sovereign," Night Sorrow said as he looked in the direction of the Shinwu Great World Legion. "I don't know who's stronger between you and Prince Jianghu, but I can say that given time, you'll definitely be the first sovereign," Lin Qingyi said seriously. "Maybe I'm the first sovereign now." Night Sorrow smiled. He was confident in himself. Night Sorrow knew that the other party wouldn't fight today. They would first show off their momentum and pressure the soldiers of the Reincarnation Great World. Then they would officially fight. The Shinwu Great World Legion indeed didn't start fighting directly. "If this method works on us, then our 9 Heavens Legion won't be able to survive," Jun Xuanji snorted coldly. "Don't mind it. Some people can think about it," Night Sorrow said and returned to his tent. Night Sorrow returned to his tent and sat down to meditate. At this time no one would ambush him. There was no point in ambushing him. Who wouldn't be prepared? Moreover, the next battle would be the battle between the strongest sovereigns. Whoever ambushed him would be at a disadvantage. But the sun didn't appear. The clouds in the sky were very low. Strong winds swept away the clouds and churned above the battlefield. The atmosphere was very somber. This was the most important battle in the realm war. It was very important to the Reincarnation Great World, so it was normal for the weather to be different. At this time the Shinwu Great World Legion moved forward. Following this, a burly middle-aged man with golden hair and a red ribbon appeared riding a silver dragon. Night Sorrow's body flashed and landed on Ice Chilant's back. He also walked out of the Legion's camp. "Night Sorrow, come out. War Tiger Prince will kill you today," War Tiger Prince shouted towards the Reincarnation Great World Legion. Seeing Night Sorrow come out and shout, War Tiger Prince did it for the sake of momentum. He didn't need to talk about his personal needs, but the soldiers of the Legion needed it. Today was not only a battle between sovereigns but also a battle between legions. "I thought you were a hero, but now it seems like you're just SOSO. Your thoughts are useless. 9 Heavens Legion, are you afraid of battle?" Night Sorrow pointed at the sky with his right hand and shouted. "We are invincible. Kill all who come." 9 Heavens Legion. Invincible. The 9 Heavens Legion shouted out 2 slogans. Night Sorrow looked back and nodded in satisfaction. He then looked at War Tiger Prince and said, "Use your strength to speak." Update 9. Actually, the most awesome slogan was, 10,000 troops, not a single blade of grass will survive. Update 10:20 a.m. There were a few blackouts today. I had no choice. Chapter 1392. Prince Jianghu glared at Night Sorrow. Because of Night Sorrow's simple sentence, His plan to build up momentum had been foiled. Don't try to play tricks with me. It's meaningless and makes you seem childish, Night Sorrow said coldly. Don't say such useless things. Once I kill you, everything will be solved, Prince Jianghu said with narrowed eyes. If you can survive in this world with your mouth, then I have to say that you will do very well. Night Sorrow looked at Prince Jianghu and said, then you can die. Prince Jianghu's body shook. He flew off the silver dragon and charged at Yishan. Yishang's feet trembled as he rose into the air and flew towards Prince Jianghu. The battle between the strongest monarchs had officially begun. Both of them are top-tier monarchs. This is a battle of fate. Someone is destined to rise, Li Tianhu said. Can you speak? Night Sorrow will rise from this battle. He will be unrivaled among the monarchs. Datura stared at Li Tianhu. Ah, my mouth doesn't know how to speak, Li Tianhu said with a smile. I have confidence in Night Sorrow, Qing Emperor said. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Prince Jianghu began to fight in close quarters. Prince Jianghu's blade slashed at Night Sorrow's sky rend. After a loud explosion, the two separated. Night Sorrow only retreated 5 or 6 feet because of the splash of energy. However, Prince Jianghu was sent flying 200 feet because of the impact. This caused the spectators to be very shocked. The cultivators of Shenwu Great World all knew that the sky-devouring tiger race was extremely strong. However, when compared to Night Sorrow, a human cultivator, they were at a disadvantage. After repelling Prince Jianghu, Yishang knew that he had the upper hand in terms of strength. Night Sorrow unleashed a linear cut on his protective shield as he rushed forward. Once again he used the Void Extreme Strike. Following an explosion, War Tiger Prince was forced back a distance, but it was better than before. He swung his saber at Night Sorrow. Prince Jianghu's battle blade was very long, about 6 meters long. It was wrapped in gray energy, which was the energy of time. Come on. Let's see how powerful your time energy is. Let's see what you're going to use to kill me. Night Sorrow's Nihility willpower suppressed Prince Jianghu and then used Nihility Extreme Point to kill him. The sound of energy explosions continued to ring out. War Tiger Prince was forced back by Night Sorrow's attacks. In terms of strength, Night Sorrow had the advantage. In terms of speed, Night Sorrow also had the advantage. In addition, War Tiger Prince had the advantage in attributes. It was only natural that War Tiger Prince would be suppressed. This was the restraint of strength, speed, and elemental laws. Everyone was very surprised. Originally, everyone thought that they should be evenly matched. Even if one was stronger, it would only be by a bit. However, the battle proved that it was not the case. Other than the initial slash, War Tiger Prince was passively defending. What's going on? Overwhelming him? Red Emperor said with some surprise. He can fight with Datura Chinensis and not lose. That means he has the strength to fight against a big shot. War Tiger Prince is not enough, right? Gap, this is the gap. His foundation is deep, but who knows how deep it is? Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Night Sorrow did not feel any pressure as he suppressed War Tiger Prince. You want to kill me? This bit of strength is not enough. Continue. Night Sorrow fiercely pushed War Tiger Prince back and then shouted. You deserve to die. After being pushed back by Night Sorrow, War Tiger Prince's eyes were bloodshot. He had lost face. He was Shenwu Great World's #1 monarch, but now? He was being suppressed. After letting out a low roar, War Tiger Prince's body flashed and a doppelganger appeared. It also held a battle sword and attacked Night Sorrow. Afterimage body? Night Sorrow used Afterimage body and then attacked War Tiger Prince's doppelganger, which was relatively weaker. Figures flew and energy surged. Night Sorrow and War Tiger Prince began to fight in the air above the battlefield. The winner has been decided. War Tiger Prince's original body and doppelganger are fighting together. If they can't take down Junior Brother's doppelganger, what right does he have to be called the strongest monarch? Jean Tan snorted. She was already dissatisfied. Night Sorrow was fighting with his doppelganger, but his opponent was fighting with his original body and doppelganger. Although Night Sorrow was only a doppelganger, he was not at a disadvantage. The Afterimage body was controlled by his soul. Although it did not have any attacking power, it could dodge attacks. In addition, Night Sorrow's strength and speed were suppressing War Tiger Prince, so the battle was still evenly matched. Damn it. I'll make sure you don't even have a corpse left. War Tiger Prince was getting more and more angry. His original body and doppelganger were fighting together. If they could not take down Night Sorrow, it meant that they were not as good as Night Sorrow. Look at the original chapter. You only know how to talk. Can't you say something more nutritious? Night Sorrow replied. Tiger roaring wave. War Tiger Prince's original body and doppelganger retreated a little. Then both of them opened their mouths and roared at Night Sorrow's doppelganger. It was an ultimate skill, a sound wave attack. There was no such thing. In the information that Night Sorrow had read, War Tiger Prince did not have such an ultimate skill. Caught off guard, Night Sorrow's doppelganger was all shattered. Swallow the sky. After dispersing Night Sorrow's doppelganger, War Tiger Prince used his ultimate skill, Swallow the Sky. He first used the Tiger Roaring Wave to break Night Sorrow's doppelganger. Then he used his ultimate skill, Swallow the Sky. When fighting against normal monarchs, War Tiger Prince only needed to use his doppelganger or his original body to use Swallow the Sky. However, he knew that Night Sorrow was very strong. So, he used both his original body and doppelganger together to kill Night Sorrow. War Tiger Prince's original body and doppelganger both opened their mouths. Two gray energy whirlpools swept towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's spacetime willpower burst forth. The spacetime energy shield kept vibrating. Stalemate. With the spacetime willpower suppressing War Tiger Prince's Swallow the Sky, War Tiger Prince's energy whirlpools did not affect Night Sorrow. The two sides were in a stalemate. Lord God Tiger stood up. He felt that the situation was not good. This was War Tiger Prince's strongest move. If it could not do anything to Night Sorrow, then they would not be able to win this battle. After a moment of stalemate, Night Sorrow made his move. His willpower and energy instantly switched. They became void willpower and void energy. At this time, War Tiger Prince's doppelganger Swallow the Sky whirlpool came close to Night Sorrow's body. It was immediately destroyed. Night Sorrow's body flashed as he followed the pulling force of the energy vortex released by War Tiger Prince's true body towards War Tiger Prince. Great Emperor Cycle Slash. When he got close to War Tiger Prince's original body, Night Sorrow used his ultimate skill. A battle of life and death was not for learning. It was for killing. Now, Night Sorrow wanted to kill War Tiger Prince because he had killed many people. Among them, there was demon blood that Night Sorrow was familiar with. A purple halo exploded. It rushed through the gray energy and enveloped War Tiger Prince's head. Then, with a whistling sound, Sky Splitter pierced towards War Tiger Prince's head. The 10th update has arrived. Today's 10th update has ended. Thank you, brothers. Congratulations, brother, for leveling up to Black Diamond. Rest for a while, then repay, brother, and continue. Chapter 1393. In previous battles, Night Sorrow had not dared to fully unleash the will of the void. He had always been secretive and had not been able to fully display its might. But now he was no longer afraid. If a Heaven Master attacked him, he would be able to survive. Thus he no longer had any scruples. Using the will of nothingness as the main body of the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash, the power was much stronger than before. The purple light directly melted the gray spacetime energy from Prince Jianghu. After passing through it, it enveloped Prince Jianghu's head. Seeing that it was effective, Night Sorrow quickly attacked with the Space Slicer. The energy from the Space Slicer pierced through the gray energy whirlpool and through Prince Jianghu's forehead. Prince Jianghu's head was destroyed without a sound. Night Sorrow's body flashed and his left hand grabbed Prince Jianghu's storage ring. He then turned around to face Prince Jianghu's clone. Are you going to use this strength to shout that you want to kill me? Your original body is dead. Night Sorrow waved the Space Slicer and charged towards Prince Jianghu. Prince Jianghu's body flashed and he immediately ran. How would he dare to fight? Both his original body and clone were not a match for Night Sorrow. Now that his original body was destroyed and only his clone was left, he no longer had the ability to fight. Night Sorrow's body flashed and he began his pursuit. Since there was a chance to kill, he would naturally take it to his death. You're courting death. Heaven Lord God whose body flashed and he flew towards the area where Night Sorrow and Prince Jianghu were chasing. You're the one who's courting death. Datura, who had been observing the battle, flashed and arrived at the battlefield. He waved his hollow blade and slashed towards Heaven Lord Godhood. However, Night Sorrow wasn't able to catch up to Prince War Tiger. It wasn't that his speed was inferior to Prince War Tiger's, but that the distance between them was too short. Prince War Tiger was rushing towards the Divine Martial Great World's Heaven Master camp. No matter how bold Night Sorrow was, he could not run into the Heaven Masters of the other party. Seeing Prince Jianghu run back, Sky Lord Shinhu dodged Datura's blade and also retreated. He knew he couldn't beat Datura. Why are you running away? Aren't you going to kill me? If you continue to be so arrogant, I'll kill you. All of you listen up. This is the reincarnation great world. It's not a place where you can behave atrociously. Prince Jianghu, remember this. I'll kill your true body this time. The next time we meet, I'll kill you thoroughly. Night Sorrow pointed at War Tiger Prince and roared. Datura also retreated to Night Sorrow's side. Kill. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. The furious War Tiger Prince roared. Upon hearing Prince Jianghu's command, Shinwu Great World's army charged towards Night Sorrow and the Nine Heavens army. Kill them all? Very good. Nine Heavens army, fight. Night Sorrow waved his Sky Lord and gave the order. If Prince Jianghu wanted to kill them all, he wouldn't hold back either. At this moment, the Heaven Masters of the Reincarnation Great World were floating in the air and staring at the Shinwu Great World's Heaven Masters. They were not allowed to interfere in the war between the armies. The first release of the war started and both armies started to move. Summer City, Shangguanhong, and Xian Daozi avoided the enemy's attack path and reached the array formation area. They used the Saint Spirit Stone to activate the array formation. The array formation was activated at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, it covered the Shinwu Great World's army that hadn't rushed out of the area. Night Sorrow's men moved. The Skyheart army and Sima army on the left and the Bloodthirsty army and Black Evil army on the right all rushed out and attacked the Shinwu Great World's army. Nine Heavens army and Yuanchu army followed Night Sorrow and attacked the War Tiger army. God Tiger, you better not move. If you move, it won't be as simple as a realm war. No matter how big our losses are, you guys won't be able to return. Qing Emperor looked at Lord God Tiger, who was also in the air. Lord God Tiger's eyelids twitched. He wanted to attack, but he couldn't. Some things were beyond his expectations. He was on par with Datura. Other than Sandalwood and Qing Emperor, others couldn't stop them. If they fought, there would be casualties. This was something he couldn't bear. The battle between the armies was intense. However, the Reincarnation Great World's army had the absolute upper hand, especially the Nine Heavens army. They were in groups of 3 and 5, and their killing power was extremely high. Those who were targeted by them would definitely be killed. Lord God Tiger looked at Datura and the others, but he couldn't do anything. He could only watch as the soldiers of his army were killed. Defeated. Lord God Tiger knew that they had lost this battle. After War Tiger Prince was killed, the momentum of the Shinwu Great World had already dissipated. In addition, Night Sorrow's array had trapped a portion of the people. The remaining portion couldn't withstand the full force of the Reincarnation Great World's army. Retreat. Heaven Monarch Shenhu shouted. You want to retreat? Chase after them. Yi Shang gave the order once again. When Prince Jianghu had shouted that he would kill all of them, Yi Shang had been infuriated, so he would not be polite now. The Shinwu Great World's army retreated. Night Sorrow led his men to chase after them. Night Sorrow wasn't a murderous person. However, he knew that now wasn't the time to be merciful. If he was merciful now, the Shinwu Great World's army would still have strength and fight again. Black Evil army, stay behind. Send a message to the Green Qilin army, Green Phoenix army, and Chihuahua army to come back. Trap the troops in the array. Night Sorrow turned around and shouted to the Black Evil army. He led his army to bypass the area where he set up the array. He ignored the soldiers of the Shinwu Great World who were trapped and started killing the soldiers of the Shinwu Great World who were retreating. The battle was very intense as they chased after them. The soldiers of the Reincarnation Great World were in high spirits. This was because this was the first time they had fought a battle to their heart's content. The leaders of both sides were also moving. They were above the soldiers who were fighting. Neither side made a move. There was no need for Qing Emperor and the others. They didn't need to make a move. The battle was already won. Lord God Tiger and the others couldn't make a move. If they made a move, Qing Emperor and the others would definitely make a move. After chasing for half a day, Night Sorrow gave the order to stop the chase. Because they could no longer chase after them, the Divine Martial Great World's legions had all been scattered. Retreat. Night Sorrow led his army back to Red Origin City. Red Origin City was still in a mess. When Night Sorrow arrived outside Scarlet Origin City, he saw that the Black Fiend Legion, the Green Phoenix Legion, and the Green Qilin Legion were surrounding the array formation. Those who charged out of the array formation without resisting would be captured, tied up, and thrown to the side. Those who resisted would be killed. Surround them. After I release the array, kill those who resist. Those who don't resist, capture them first. Night Sorrow said as he released the array. When the array was released, the soldiers of the Jianghu Great World saw the reincarnation Great World surrounding them. How could they resist? After capturing all of them, Yishang returned to the big tent in the barracks. After Yishang entered, he saw that Lin Qingyi was there too. A complete victory. Just as I expected, Prince Jianghu wasn't a match for you. It seems like you didn't use your full strength when you fought with me. Lin Qingyi looked at Night Sorrow and said. First update. Chapter 1394. Your Excellency, you think too much. I was just lucky, Night Sorrow said. It's not luck, it's strength. Your world of Samsara won and they lost the ability to continue fighting. That's strange. Why didn't you bring your men to the Thunder Cliff? That's their stronghold for attacking the world of Samsara. If you took it down, wouldn't you gain more benefits? Lin Qingyi said. Your Excellency, I have my considerations. If we took down the Thunder Cliff, the scattered soldiers of Jianghu Great World would not be able to return. If they stayed, it would affect the peace of the world of Samsara. Therefore, I gave them a chance to go back, Night Sorrow said. Your Excellency is very awkward. You can call me Jianghu. That's what my friends call me. Besides, if you don't pursue the victory, you will lose the opportunity to fight. When the people of Jianghu Great World leave, the teleportation formation will be destroyed. Won't you suffer a loss? Lin Qingyi said. She felt that Night Sorrow's move was a mistake. It was a mistake that the #1 commander of the world of Samsara should not make. Go. Jianghu, actually I have other arrangements. Is it only the teleportation formation that they set up? The world of Samsara also set up a teleportation formation when the war started. I know you don't care about the realm war now. It doesn't matter if I tell you. When they leave and the teleportation formation at the Thunder Cliff is destroyed, it will be impossible for the Jianghu Great World to enter the world of Samsara. In the future I can fight whenever I want, but they can't. Today's battle is just the beginning of the realm war for me, Night Sorrow said as he brewed a pot of tea. You have a flawless plan. I used my own thinking to measure you. That was a mistake. Lin Qingyi laughed self-deprecatingly. I just made a secret move in advance. It's more effective. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Lin Qingyi. A secret move. You made one secret move after another. Today's trap and kill formation directly reduced the combat power of Jianghu Great World by half. It allowed the world of Samsara to win this turning battle with a small loss, Lin Qingyi said. We caught a lot of people today. I don't want to kill too many people. What do you think we should do with these people? Night Sorrow asked Lin Qingyi. What do you think? Lin Qingyi looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. There was no need for Night Sorrow to tell her about these things. If you can arrange it, I can hand that person over to you. I don't have any other requests. Just don't harm our reincarnation Great World and don't participate in this realm war. Once the realm war is over, they can go back, Night Sorrow said. You're still so kind? I think you're quite ruthless today. Lin Qingyi didn't understand because the current Yishang was completely different from the Yishang who had fought on the battlefield. It's different. That's war. I didn't kill, I was merciful. Those who died were my brothers. Now that the battle is over, there's no need to continue killing. Participating in the realm war is not a crime in itself. They might have been fathers or sons. It doesn't matter if they die, but what they leave behind is the grief of their families, said Yishan. You're right. Leave these people to me. Lin Qingyi nodded. Uncle Xian Daozi, bring Jianghu over. Tell him that I want all the captives to be handed over to Jianghu, Night Sorrow said to Xian Daozi, who entered the tent. Just as Xian Daozi and Lin Qingyi left, Night Sorrow's body shone brightly. It was a golden light. Meritorious body. The moment the meritorious saint changed, Night Sorrow understood. He had won this battle for the reincarnation Great World. He had become a meritorious saint in the reincarnation Great World. The meritorious light in his body was very strong. The 9 regions world would be a supreme world like the reincarnation Great World in the future. However, it was not possible now. Therefore, the meritorious light in the meritorious saint of the 9 regions world was not enough to support him to become a meritorious saint of the reincarnation Great World. However, after this battle, Night Sorrow had enough merit to become a meritorious saint. Moreover, it was not the same feeling as when he had just become a meritorious saint. It could even be said that the light of merit he had obtained this time made Night Sorrow not far from becoming a meritorious saint. Night Sorrow thought about it and understood. This was a realm war. It was a battle between the reincarnation Great World and the Jianghu Great World. He had killed Prince Jianghu, which was a turning point. He had also led his army to victory and laid the foundation for the realm war. It was reasonable for him to have great merit. After getting used to it, Knight Sorrow stored the light of merit in his body and went to the city lord's mansion. At this time, the heaven masters had all returned and were drinking tea and chatting. When they saw Knight Sorrow, they all smiled because Knight Sorrow had made a name for himself. The first monarch of the Shinwu Great World had fought together with his clone, but Knight Sorrow had killed the first monarch. They were not on the same level at all. Knight Sorrow sat down beside Datura. Then the Qing Emperor asked Knight Sorrow what he wanted to do next. Knight Sorrow told the Qing Emperor and the others about the arrangement of the captives. That's good. It's okay to kill them during the war. After the war, it's not appropriate to kill the captives. It's immoral. You can arrange it as you see fit. The Qing Emperor said. Master, I plan to attack the Shinwu Great World after stabilizing the situation. The victory of the realm war is important, but the stability of our reincarnation Great World is more important. Knight Sorrow expressed his thoughts. We have no objections. The army of the reincarnation Great World will be under your command now and in the future. Sima Tianqing said. This was his attitude. In the reincarnation Great World, the Qing Emperor's dynasty, the Dark Abyss, and the Red Emperor's empire were all on the same side. The Black Fiend Valley was also riding on Knight Sorrow's coattails. Everyone knew this and the Li brothers didn't mind. First, Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord also said that the Yuan Chu army would be led by Knight Sorrow. Therefore, Sima Tianqing's attitude was the final decision. Okay, I won't favor one and discriminate against the other. I'll treat it the same. Knight Sorrow made a promise. Knight Sorrow, there's bad news. According to the spy of the Dark Abyss in the Celestial Sect, Lord of Heaven God who went to the Celestial Sect. However, we didn't find out what he did or what he discussed. Datura said. This is an unstable factor, but we can't act directly now. Let's ignore them for now. Next, we'll reclaim our lost land and stabilize it. Then we'll attack the Thunder Cliff. After the reincarnation Great World is stabilized, we'll go to war. The Jianghu dynasty and the martial sacred palace must pay the price. We must let them know that there's a price to pay for provoking others. Knight Sorrow said. After communicating with everyone, Knight Sorrow returned to the tent and rushed to the place where the captives were held. At this time, Lin Qingyi was talking to the captives. She said that the realm war was different from the grudge war. A loss was a loss. She told the captives to settle down and that they could go back after the realm war. Seeing that everything was stable, Knight Sorrow returned to the tent and asked Red and Blue to be on guard. He began to cultivate and study the newly advanced light of merit. The second chapter has arrived. Thank you, brother. For, I don't know. Shui Jing unsealed yesterday's chapter. Thank you, brother. Yesterday you gave me an essential oil and 2 strength pills. Chapter 1395. There were many things that Knight Sorrow didn't need to worry about. Once he set the direction, there would be people to carry it out. Just like now, the post-war reorganization of the army was arranged by the commander and the general. Those who came to find Knight Sorrow and found out that Knight Sorrow was cultivating would deal with it themselves. If they couldn't deal with it themselves, they would go to the city lord's mansion to seek advice from the heaven masters. He's still cultivating at this time. It seems like there's a lot of room for improvement, Red Emperor said. He came back to participate in the war right after he advanced, so there's still a lot of room for improvement, Qing Emperor said. He has already risen and his momentum is unstoppable. He can protect himself in front of a heaven master just after he advanced. After he stabilizes and improves his will, his strength will be no different from a heaven master, Sima Tianqing said. So when he's cultivating, there are some things that we have to deal with. We have to support him fully. Precious Fragrance Heaven looked at Datura and said. She admired Datura's foresight. He was able to discover that Knight Sorrow was a talent at such an early stage. Also, everyone get ready. After the situation stabilizes, Knight Sorrow will lead people to counterattack. We have to deal with some auxiliary problems, Qing Emperor said to the group. Knight Sorrow was cultivating the immortal golden body in the tent. It was to integrate the light of virtue into his body and circulate it with the energy in his body. In the past, he couldn't cultivate it because he didn't have enough light of virtue. Now that his light of virtue was abundant, he could naturally do it. After 6 days, Knight Sorrow completed the integration of the light of virtue and the energy in his body. The true immortal golden body was cultivated. Walking out of the tent, Night Sorrow nodded to Hong Yi and Lan Ning. "Thank you for your hard work these few days." Hong Yi and Lan Ning were king. In the past they were experts. However, they couldn't keep up with the pace now. It wasn't that they couldn't do it, but the level that Night Sorrow was facing was getting higher and higher. Therefore they were now Night Sorrow's bodyguards and followers. After exiting the tent, Night Sorrow went to the place where the captives were. When Night Sorrow arrived, Lin Qingyi appeared. "Everyone is here. I've already told them to stay here for now. Those who are injured will heal, and those who are not will cultivate." It's not easy to be a soldier. Life and death battles are inevitable in a world war. Once the war is over, it's a different matter. I'm a soldier, so I respect every soldier. "If you need anything, you can come find me," said Yishan. Looking at Night Sorrow, Lin Qingyi nodded. She now understood why the Nine Heavens Army, the #1 army in Samsara world, could still crush the martial army. It was because Night Sorrow had the heart of a soldier. "Xuanji, you'll be in charge of this place. If there's a need, just satisfy it," Night Sorrow said to Jun Xuanji, who had rushed over. Jun Xuanji nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow was busy, so she had to take over these matters. Night Sorrow was now the commander-in-chief of the Allied forces. She was the military counselor of the Allied forces because she was Night Sorrow's most capable assistant. Night Sorrow went to each army and called all the commanders and generals to the commander-in-chief's tent. Although we tried our best to avoid it, there were still some losses. Those who were seriously injured need to be treated, and those who died, we need to compensate them. "I will speak to the leaders of your respective forces about this," Yi Sorrow said as he looked at the commanders and generals of the various armies. Everyone bowed to Night Sorrow. Those who could lead soldiers to war naturally loved their brothers. Night Sorrow's words struck a chord in their hearts. This is the aftermath. Besides, the world war hasn't ended, so we can't just attack the Shenwu Great World and leave when we can't win. We have to give an explanation. "I'll fight." "Everyone here is willing to do so," Night Sorrow said. "Let's not talk about the others." "The Nine Heavens Army will definitely fight," Nu Lin said. "The Devil Blood Army will fight too. Later, Shishue and I will ask the Lord to fight." "I believe the Lord won't have any objections," the Devil Blood commander said. "Commander Yu Feng will send a message to Master immediately." "I believe he will agree," Yuanchu armies Yu Feng said. Night Sorrow then told everyone to go back and prepare. Those who were willing to fight could gather in 7 days. After the commanders and generals left, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. He guessed that all the armies would fight. After all, no one would be willing to take a beating. After drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow went to the city lord's mansion. When he arrived, he found that all the commanders were there. Seeing Night Sorrow, all the commanders bowed to Night Sorrow. "Is everyone here?" Yishan opened his mouth and greeted them. "Night Sorrow is here. Come and sit." Red Emperor nodded to Night Sorrow. "I'm here this time because I have something to tell everyone. I'm the leader of the Realm Battle Army this time. Many of them died in battle, so I have to give them an explanation. I hope that everyone can compensate the soldiers of your respective forces. We have to respect those who died fighting for the realm battle." Yishan clasped his hands at the Heaven Masters present. "Of course. They all died for their beliefs. We all understand." Sima Tianqing nodded. "We can't do anything about those who died in battle. I hope that the forces of the armies can take care of the families of the soldiers who died in battle," Night Sorrow stated his request. Red Emperor, Sima Tianqing and the others nodded in agreement to Night Sorrow's request. Night Sorrow's request was reasonable. In fact, even if Night Sorrow didn't say it, everyone would do the same. It was just that there might be a difference in strength. Also, they're all here to request for battle. "What do you think?" Qing Emperor said. "This depends on the situation of each force. Those who can and are willing to fight should fight. Those who are unsuitable or unwilling should rest and recuperate. Master, disciple and the Nine Heavens Army must fight," Night Sorrow said. "Forever and ever. Master will support your decision." Qing Emperor smiled and nodded. He knew that Night Sorrow was insistent. "Night Sorrow, you're too distant with your thoughts. What is a realm war?" "A realm war is a war for everyone in the world. Some people don't work together because of their differences. We'll definitely fight. Chiu He, before the realm war ends, the Sima Residence's army must cooperate with Night Sorrow's deployment. Even if we have to fight to the last man," Sima Tianqing said to the commander of the Sima Residence, Chiu He. "Night Sorrow, our Black Fiend Valley naturally has nothing to say. If you want to climb a mountain of blades, we won't hesitate at all, Li Tianba said. Red Emperor also stood up and expressed his attitude. Knight Sorrow bowed to Li Tianba and Red Emperor. A few years ago, because I wasn't calm enough, I hurt the two of you. Knight Sorrow will pay for it. Knight Sorrow knew that he wasn't wrong. Sometimes he wasn't wrong, but he needed to be humble. If he could untie the knot in other people's hearts, he didn't mind paying a little price. After all, he killed someone else's son. Third watch. Chapter 1396. It's all in the past. I can't blame you. This is fate. I didn't teach you well. You don't have to take it to heart, said the Red Emperor. Forget it. Let's not talk about it anymore. We're friends now. It'll hurt our relationship if we talk about the past. The Red Emperor looked at his two sons and said, Knight Sorrow, you're wronging yourself by saying this today. You have the potential to be the leader of a force. I'm very happy to hand the Red Emperor's army to you. Tianxin Chihuahua, let's not talk about the past. Cooperate well in battle. Understand? Akatsuki and Chihuahua nodded. They knew that it was all in the past. Their father had let it go completely. They also knew that Chidu deserved it the most. After settling things, Knight Sorrow left the city lord's mansion and returned to the military tent. Knight Sorrow had just sat down when Yufeng arrived. Yufeng told him about Lord Yuandao's attitude. Lord Yuandao's order was that the Yuanchu army would listen to Knight Sorrow's orders until the end of the Realm War. New Lin, the Yuanchu army is quite far from Yuandao. It might be inconvenient to resupply them. Take a portion of our Nine Heavens army's supplies. Medicine and resources must be provided, said Knight Sorrow to New Lin, who was also in the tent. Commander Knight, you're too polite. We'll bring the resources. There won't be any shortage. The Yuanchu army will accept your kindness, said Yufeng with a bow. After settling matters, Knight Sorrow went for a walk with Dechura, who came to accompany him. Lord Yujun and Qingyan ran home. They want to tell their mother and aunt about their father's might, said Dechura with a smile. Hashtag the only genuine article, the others are all thieves. Version, they're still children. They'll still be children when they grow up. My original body has been cultivating. When it can't cultivate at a high speed, I'll come out. We have to have children too, said Knight Sorrow with a smile. Okay, we want children too. Dechura blushed. In fact, Dechura had long thought about this. She wanted to give birth to a child for Knight Sorrow. I can feel that your aura has changed. There's a sense of peace within the righteousness. I'm not the only one who feels this way. When you left the city lord's mansion earlier, everyone else said the same thing. Dechura said to Knight Sorrow. I've gained a lot from this realm war. In the reincarnation great world, I've become a sage of merit. I've also fused the golden light of merit into my body. You know how I cultivate my body. After fusing with the golden meritorious light, I already have an indestructible meritorious golden meritorious body. Because I cultivate the leakless body, if people don't look carefully they won't be able to detect it, Knight Sorrow explained. What is a virtuous sage? It meant that he had obtained the approval of the heavenly Tao. His words and actions carried the aura of the heavenly Tao, and he carried a majestic aura. Very good. Becoming a virtuous saint through virtue. A virtuous saint from a major world is incredible, Mandela said as she looked at Yishang. Luo, I feel that I'm not far from becoming a virtuous grand sage, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Good things should be shared with family. Then hurry up. A virtuous grand sage is even more powerful. He can crush king even without cultivation. Dechura looked at Knight Sorrow excitedly. Can you hurry up? You can't do it intentionally. Letting nature take its course is in accordance with the heavenly Tao, Knight Sorrow said. Dechura nodded. She also understood that doing good on purpose was just a small act of kindness. It wasn't considered much merit. Dechura told Knight Sorrow to be careful in the future. He had destroyed Prince Jianghu's original body, which meant that he had destroyed Prince Jianghu's future. It was equivalent to destroying one of the great leaders of the Jianghu dynasty. I know. Luo, you should be careful too. Dechura chinensis is a hidden danger. This hidden danger must be dealt with. Knight Sorrow was worried that Dechura chinensis would appear again. After all, she was an opponent who hid in the dark and could strike a fatal blow at any time. I know. The most difficult thing about her is that she can hide her aura. Great leaders can't sense her aura. The last time she came we couldn't sense it. Now, it's difficult for her to do anything to the two of us, So we have to be careful of our family's safety, Datura said. Before you married me you didn't have any weaknesses. Now your weakness is me and our family. Now that I've entered the monarch realm, it's difficult for her to do anything to me. I think the only place she can do anything to is our family, Night Sorrow said. My clone is in the mysterious sky world, cultivating in an inn not far from the teleportation formation. She can't threaten Seven Nights City. I'll know when she reaches the mysterious sky world, Datura said. She had already thought about Night Sorrow's worries. Aluo switched between the original body and the clone. The original body will go there and the clone will stay outside. The original body must be safe. We don't have children yet, Night Sorrow said. Didn't I tell you? My original body and clone are similar. As long as your original body comes out, both my original body and clone can do anything. The clone can't have a partner. The heavenly law doesn't work on me. In other words, if you marry me, it's the same as marrying two wives. Of course, their minds and souls are the same, Datura said. I understand. Does the same thing happen to Datura Chinensis? I don't know if it was the clone or the original body last time. Night Sorrow exhaled. Datura was strong, which meant that Datura Chinensis also had heaven-defying abilities. It's not the same. Datura Chinensis doesn't have a branch, so she doesn't have a clone. She only has the original body. However, she has some special skills that I don't have. She knows the art of seduction. Last time you were alerted, so she didn't have the chance to use it. Also, she has strong life-saving skills. You have to pay attention to all of these. Most importantly, don't impersonate me to trick you, Datura said. You and I are husband and wife. Who would impersonate you? Even if they look exactly the same, there's still a lack of feelings. If I mistook you as my wife, wouldn't I be letting you down? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Not necessarily. I have too many similarities with Datura Chinensis. If she's more cautious, it'll be really difficult for you to tell, Datura reminded Night Sorrow. I understand. I know where her nest is. We'll go take a look later. If she's still there, we'll get rid of her once and for all, Night Sorrow said. I'll listen to you. For the time being, we have to win this realm war first. The Jianghu dynasty and Battle God Palace have to be dealt with. We have to beat them into submission. Murderous intent appeared in Datura's eyes. She was gentle and considerate in front of Night Sorrow, but after suppressing a region for so many years, the domineering and murderous intent on her body were already ingrained in her bones. I still have to tell Master and the others that we can't just send an army. If the other Heaven Masters take action, our armies won't be able to return, Night Sorrow said. Datura told Night Sorrow that on this issue, the Qing Emperor and the other Heaven Masters had already reached a consensus. The primordial Heaven Master had also informed them and agreed to send a clone to fight. After hearing Datura's words, Night Sorrow was relieved. The Jianghu dynasty was very strong, but so what? You wanted to fight the realm war to the end. But the fourth update has arrived. Today's update completed. Chapter 1397. Deterrence. Night Sorrow needed a deterrence. Without the deterrence and restraint of the Heaven Masters, the other party's Heaven Masters would have no scruples. With the Heaven Masters of the world of reincarnation, Lord Xinhu and the others would not easily make a move. Of course, it would be useless even if they did. With the support of Qing Emperor and the others, Night Sorrow felt that there was no problem. Now the army is reorganized and assembled. If there is no problem, we can go to war, Night Sorrow said. Go out and fight. We must make a name for ourselves. We must let everyone know that the Nine Heavens army is not to be trifled with. We must let everyone know the name Night Sorrow, Datura said. Night Sorrow smiled and shook his head. He did not care about personal fame because he did not lack anything. After chatting with Datura for a while, Night Sorrow returned to the commander's tent. Commander, when are we going to war? Jun Xuanji asked. After the army is reorganized, we will go to the Xinwu Great World. I don't have a map, so I can't plan tactics and strategies. So we must first fight our way in and then send out scouts to collect information, Night Sorrow said. We can send out scouts now, Jun Xuanji said. Your Highness, I will bring a secret guard to scout. This may save a lot of time, Summer City, who had been sitting on the side, said. Summer City, Xian Daozi and Shengguan Hong were all with Night Sorrow. Okay. Xuanji, go to the Angry Lin army and gather a team of scouts. Go with Uncle Xia and the others. The Nine Heavens army must guard the teleportation portal. I will go too. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow made a decision. Once the scouts entered, the war would begin. If the scouts were caught or met with an accident, the location of the teleportation portal would be easily discovered. So, once the war began, the teleportation portal must be guarded. Forever Free/CPJ. After making his decision, Night Sorrow led the Nine Heavens army to teleport to the Jianghu Great World. The teleportation array that Shen Daozi had set up was located in a remote mountain range in the Jianghu Great World. Night Sorrow had the Nine Heavens Legion set up camp in a defensive position. After arranging the army's base, Night Sorrow set up the command tent. Not long after it was done, the teleportation portal flashed. The Qing Emperor and the other big shots all appeared. Night Sorrow, if you have made a decision, you should tell everyone how dangerous it is for you to bring your men here, Misty Rain said. Mistress, I know I was wrong, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Let's not talk about you anymore. Go do your thing. We'll find another place to camp, Qing Emperor said. Knowing that Night Sorrow was leading his men to the Jianghu Great World, the big shots followed him without hesitation. Now, Night Sorrow's importance to the Reincarnation Great World had surpassed the big shots. He was now the commander of the Reincarnation Great World's coalition army, the number one person under the big shots. Night Sorrow was the number one person under the big shots. The title of the strongest monarch was not given by himself. It was recognized by everyone. If something happened to Night Sorrow, the Reincarnation Great World's momentum would fall to the bottom. In fact, Night Sorrow's fame was not only in the Reincarnation Great World and the Jianghu Great World, but also in the Xuanhuang Great World. Tang Bo, Tang Xian and Tang Yi were all very excited. Everyone should be like Night Sorrow. His heroism and boldness make my blood boil, Tang Bo said excitedly. That's because he has the strength. Without strength, how can he be heroic? He will be destroyed by others, Tang Yi said with a smile. This is a realm war. We can't take part in it. Otherwise, I really want to fight with him. That's what men should do, Tang Bo said with some yearning. What's wrong with being a woman? Brother, you're wrong. Tang Yi was a little unwilling. Among the three siblings, Tang Yi was the youngest, but she had the highest cultivation talent. She was the first one to reach the monarch realm. Haha, it's a slip of the tongue, Tang Bo said with a smile. Every war is accompanied by the rise of elites. This is the usual practice. However, not everyone has the opportunity. Without strength, you will be easily chopped into pieces, Tang Jianfeng said. Tang Bo and the other two nodded. They could understand Tang Jianfeng's words. Times create heroes. If you don't have that talent, then it's useless. Looking at his confused children, Tang Jianfeng added. Father, what do you think of this realm war? Tang Yi asked. If nothing goes wrong, Jianghu Great World will lose, Tang Jianfeng said. Then Tang Jianfeng analyzed the situation and the current advantages and disadvantages for his children. The strongest monarch and the strongest army were in the Reincarnation Great World. If the Heaven Masters didn't take part and didn't make any major mistakes, the Reincarnation Great World would win. As for the Heaven Masters, the Reincarnation Great World wasn't afraid. Night Sorrow was born in a small world. He has commanded many realm wars. In addition, he led the Qing Emperor's army in the Reincarnation Great World many times. He is very talented in this aspect. He won't make any low-level mistakes. I think the most important thing is the battle between the Heaven Masters. They are the ones who can decide the outcome of the realm war, Tang Yi said. If the Jianghu Great World's Heaven Masters were confident, they would have taken part in the battle in the Reincarnation Great World. Lord of Heaven God who was suppressed by the Dark Dominator. Blood Emperor Sandalwood completely suppressed their second Lord, Lord of Heaven Origin Hu. Therefore, they didn't have the confidence to take part in the battle. Lord of Heaven Yuan Chu and the Qing Emperor are the best among the Heaven Masters. Battle requires strength, Tang Jianfeng said. Lord of Heaven God who was slapped in the face this time. He initiated the realm war but was beaten back. If he loses the realm war, he will be embarrassed, Tang Bo said. They have already lost all their dignity. It's best if we win, but it doesn't matter if we lose. If they are cowards, the Reincarnation Great World will kill them. After all, no one wants to start a battle between Heaven Masters, Tang Jianfeng said. That was the truth. Fights between Heaven Masters were usually due to enmity and to snatch fortuitous encounters. Although the outcome of the realm war was important, it wasn't to the extent that they had to fight to the death. Night Sorrow led the Nine Heavens army into the Jianghu Great World. The other armies received the news and entered as well. Knight Sorrow's military order was for all the soldiers to cultivate the joint attack array as soon as possible. This way they could avoid losses when the battle started. Knight Sorrow's philosophy was to put people first. He didn't want to suffer any unnecessary losses. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow went to the tent of the Heaven Masters. Now the Heaven Masters were very relaxed. There was a big tea table in the middle. They were all sitting and chatting. There were extra chairs which were Knight Sorrow's seat. In other words, Knight Sorrow had a seat at this level. Knight Sorrow wasn't a Heaven Master, but he had the strength of a Heaven Master. Sit down and drink some tea. Make the arrangements. Someone will do it, Lord of Heaven Precious Fragrance said. Thank you, Heavenly Lord. Knight Sorrow is here. I have something to tell everyone. Leave the army to me and I don't want to see any of my brothers fall. So, there are some things that I need everyone's support for, Knight Sorrow said as he sat down. First watch. Chapter 1398. Just say it. As long as we can do it, it's not a problem. Sima Tianqing said. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord who just arrived nodded. Everyone take out your best healing and life-saving resources and give them to your armies. I can guarantee that you won't lose out because I'll snatch back all the resources that you've used up, Knight Sorrow said, revealing the purpose of his trip. Knight Sorrow, you are a cultivator of the body of merit. You even do things like robbing? Red Emperor looked at Knight Sorrow in surprise. What's wrong with robbing? I am a cultivator of the world of reincarnation. The Shinwu Great World has a grudge with me. If I have the chance to cut their flesh, I will naturally do it. Knight Sorrow said. Go. Red Emperor, your news is outdated. Knight Sorrow has already become a saint in the world of reincarnation. Datura said with pride because that was her husband. A body of merit had appeared in the world of reincarnation before. However, it did not become a saint because its cultivation level was too low. It had been annihilated in the long river of history. A saint of merit in the world of reincarnation? Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord looked at Knight Sorrow in surprise. Yes, it happened a while ago. I was quite lucky. Knight Sorrow said. It should have happened after you killed Prince Jianghu's true body, right? For ordinary cultivators, the world war gives them luck. You have the foundation of a body of merit, so the benefits are great. Sima Tianqing said with envy in his eyes. Becoming a saint of merit was too amazing. Let's not change the topic. Can you take out the best resources and give them to your respective armies? It's a matter of life and death. I hope to bring them all back. Knight Sorrow brought up the issue of resources again. Of course it's not a problem. You don't need the resources. They are given to our own people. There's nothing wrong with that. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said. The others did not disagree. Thank you for your support. As a token of appreciation, I'll serve you some good tea. Knight Sorrow took out the heart-cleansing tea and brewed a pot. The group of titans who were drinking the tea were full of praise. Heart-cleansing tea was very rare and was cultivated by Chin Chin. Knight Sorrow, give me 2 packets of these later, Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said bluntly. No problem. I'll give everyone 2 packs later, Knight Sorrow said. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord gave Knight Sorrow a thumbs up and said, Impressive. That's all there is to it. I'll leave you to it. Knight Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands before leaving the tent. Qing Shangjuan, these 2 disciples of yours are really a legend in the world of reincarnation. The cultivator with the body of merit who appeared last time died. He died because he attained the body of merit too late and reached the end of his lifespan. However, Knight Sorrow is different. He's more than 100 years old and he's like a baby. Who dares to look at him like a baby now? Excluding his relationship with Datura, we're all on the same level, Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said. Speaking of which, I'm ashamed. Actually, I've only imparted him one absolute art. I really didn't teach him anything else. It's because he's hardworking enough. The heavens are strong and the gentleman strives to improve himself. The terrain is good and the gentleman is virtuous. He really did it, the Lotus Emperor said. Master, you're also a cultivator of the heart and morals. Your ideals are much deeper than Junior Brother's, and you've been cultivating for countless years before him. Why did Junior Brother become a virtuous body and a virtuous saint, but you didn't? Sandalwood asked. This was something he couldn't understand. She was puzzled. It's all because I know what merit is. No matter what you do, it's considered intentional. Even if you deliberately do great good, it's still a small good. Your starting point isn't recognized by the heavenly Tao. However, your Junior Brother is different. He does things according to his nature. Therefore, his actions are most in line with the heavenly Tao. It's mainly because he has a good foundation that he was recognized by the heavenly Tao early on, Qing Emperor explained. To put it bluntly, the law of heavenly Tao likes your junior brother but doesn't like your master and the others. It can even be said that it doesn't even look straight at them. That's roughly what it means. Heavenly Monarch Yufei translated the words for him. A good foundation is just like how everyone likes a good-looking person when he's young. Even if he's ugly, no one likes him when he does good deeds. That's what it means. Yuandao Heavenly Lord said with a smile. Brother Yuandao, I don't have anything to say about your explanation. Qing Emperor was speechless at Yuandao Heavenly Lord's explanation. What's wrong? You don't let people talk about your ugly looks? Yuandao Heavenly Lord took a sip of tea and said. Hearing Yuandao Heavenly Lord's words, everyone laughed. Although they were usually in the same great world, they rarely had such interactions. Then everyone discussed and decided to split into two groups. One group would guard this place, while the other would follow Night Sorrow and the Nine Heavens Army. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow and the Nine Heavens Army would definitely face the most difficult challenges. The teleportation formation here also had to be guarded. There was a law of war that forbade the destruction of inter-realm teleportation formations. However, the teleportation formation was used for war purposes. It was a strategic teleportation formation and could be easily attacked. While waiting for information, Night Sorrow would walk around the various armies every day to see how everyone was cultivating the joint attack formation. In addition, the various forces had already sent the best resources to the armies. Knowing that this was Night Sorrow's request, all the commanders and generals were very grateful. This was because rare resources were the foundation of a force. Under normal circumstances they would not be used. On this day, Night Sorrow was about to go to the Nine Heavens Army's god-slaying territory to see his brothers when Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan came. Father, a spatial world has appeared around the Nine Regions world. It is now connected to the Nine Regions world. My sister and I plan to go in and explore it. However, Mother and aunts want us to get your permission first, Yi Yujun said. I know. The world is very big. I don't have time to investigate the situation. It might be dangerous inside, Night Sorrow said. Half a month ago, Night Sorrow's clone in the Heaven Sealing Palace knew about this. Because he was busy with the realm war, he did not pay attention to this matter. Father, you've been roaming the world since you were a young man. Although it has something to do with your situation back then, it's also inseparable from your determination. It's also inextricably linked to your achievements today. So, Father, you should let us go, Yi Yujun said. Aluo, what do you think? Night Sorrow looked at Dachura in the tent and said. Your philosophy is that it is enough to fight for yourself. You can give your family a stable life. However, the children also need their own world. Although I may take responsibility for saying this, I am still their aunt, Dachura said. Aunts, this is my own choice. Even if something happens, I am grateful for your support, Yi Yujun said. The worlds around the Nine Regions world are places I should go, Night Sorrow muttered. Second update. Thank you to Ijuan Hua and ZZZZZ for unblocking yesterday's chapter. Thank you to 4 brothers for your support. Brothers, take a break and continue. Chapter 1399. Go to the Heaven Sealing Palace and get the concentric crystal from me. That way you can talk to Aunt Luo at any time. I will be the first to know if anything happens. Go. Night Sorrow said to Yi Yujun. Thank you, Aunt Luo. Thank you, Father. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan bowed. Perhaps I was wrong in the past. I want to be a good father, but you have your own path. I will not stand in your way. Go. Be careful. If anything happens, talk to Aunt Luo. If there is any danger, don't hide it. I will help you immediately. Night Sorrow said. Then Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan left. Night Sorrow, why did the spatial world suddenly appear? Dachura was confused. The Nine Regions world developed rapidly because of my cultivation, so many variables have appeared. However, it is not a big problem. Because I have the origin of the Supreme World, some of the world's rules are ineffective against me. Only King can enter but not me. Therefore, if Yujun and Qingyan are in danger, I can enter to help, Night Sorrow said. Many spatial worlds restricted the entry of kings for self-protection. However, Night Sorrow was the master of the Supreme World's origin. He could suppress some of the spatial world's rules. After his son and daughter left, Night Sorrow went to take a look at the god-slaying team. The members of the god-slaying team were improving rapidly, especially the talented ones. Long Jin had already become a mid-level king. There were also a few half-step kings. The rest were all advancing towards the high-level Holy King. The members of the god-slaying team were soldiers in the Nine Heavens army. However, because they were improving, Nu Lin and the other generals did not restrict their freedom. They would often return to the time acceleration treasure in the city in the sky to cultivate. After that, they would train in actual combat in the army. Therefore, the speed and stability of their cultivation were not a problem. After asking some questions and giving some pointers, Night Sorrow returned to the main tent. Not long after Night Sorrow returned to the main tent, Summer City and a few secret guards returned. "Uncle Summer, did you find anything?" he asked after asking Hong Yi to make tea. "I found something. This is the map of the Jianghu Great World that I bought in the city." Summer City took out a map and handed it to Night Sorrow. Yishang took the map and looked at it. He found that the map was very detailed and the division of the factions was very clear. Yishang observed the positions of the Jianghu dynasty, Martial Sacred Hall and Poison King Valley. He discovered that the three forces were rather close to each other and seemed to be guarding each other. Yishan felt that they could deal with Battle Sacred Hall first because it was closer to the mountain range. The second day after Summer City came back, Xian Daozi and Shang Guanhong also came back. They went out to gather information. Summer City looked for the map and the distribution of the factions as well as the situation of each city. Xian Daozi and Shang Guanhong brought people to gather information. Yishang took a look at the information and found that the Martial Sacred Hall wasn't that hard to fight. The Martial Sacred Hall had two overlords. One was the Hall Master, who was Sha Chongtian's master, and the other was the Grand Elder, Martial God Shiyang. The headquarters of the Martial Sacred Hall was located at the Martial Sacred Mountain, and the main city was the Divine Hall City. Other than the Palace Master and Martial God Shiyang, the strongest people were Sha Chongtian and the three Palace Protector Elders. They were all high-level monarchs. After some calculations, Night Sorrow decided to take action. He had a high chance of winning. After that, Night Sorrow embedded a teleportation crystal in the Interrealm teleportation array and set off with Xia Cheng. The others wanted to follow, but Night Sorrow didn't. "Your Highness, they're dead for sure." Xia Cheng, who was following Yi Chang, was very excited. He knew Yi Chang's battle strategy and knew that Martial Sacred Hall would unknowingly fall for it and suffer heavy losses. "Yes. If everything goes well, we can destroy Martial Sacred Palace," Night Sorrow said. Yishang did not have a good impression of the Martial Sacred Hall. Xiang Martial God was very shameless. Moreover, without the approval of the Martial Sacred Hall's Hall Master, the Martial Sacred Hall would not follow the Jianghu dynasty as a lackey. The only person Yishang approved of was Sha Chongtian, who was a man and very courageous. After destroying Martial Sacred Palace, the ones we need to kill are the Jianghu dynasty and Poison King Valley, Summer City said excitedly. Night Sorrow and Summer City were small targets. They wouldn't attract the attention of the big shots. A Heaven Master would only be able to sense other Heaven Master great leaders. The feeling of rejection or the feeling of the same origin between perfected willpower was very strong. Night Sorrow's willpower also had power. However, it wasn't perfect and wouldn't be detected. In addition, Night Sorrow had the secret of true body, which could seal all his aura. When they arrived at a more secluded area of Martial Sacred Mountain, Night Sorrow set up a large-scale illusion array. He then set up a teleportation formation and teleported back to the stronghold in the Blue Shadow Mountain range. He called the commanders of the various armies and asked Jun Xuanji to arrange for everyone to teleport. Then, Night Sorrow went to the main tent of the big shots and explained his strategy. Yishang, according to your estimation, if we can suppress the other two Heaven Masters, then this battle with Martial Sacred Hall will be a battle of annihilation? Sima Tianqing asked Yishang. That's right. As long as the Sky Pillar Giants don't interfere, we can easily topple the Martial Sacred Hall. After the battle, the Martial Sacred Hall will only have two giants without an army, Yishang said confidently. It's good to take them by surprise. If their two big shots want to make a move, then kill them together. In the future there will be no more Martial Sacred Palace in the Jianghu Great World, Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said. Also, after the battle with Martial Sacred Palace, we have to move quickly. Our next target is Poison King Valley. We will use the same strategy to quickly deal with Poison King Valley, Night Sorrow said. Why not the Jianghu dynasty? Red Emperor asked. It's easy to change the battle with the Tiger dynasty. they originally had 3 emperors. Including the traitorous Thunderfire Heaven Monarch, they have 4 big shots. They might resist and the battle situation won't be too stable. Rather than that, it's better to expand the battle results and deal a heavy blow to the 2 forces that have enmity with us first. This way we can expand our advantage. Night Sorrow explained the reason for his choice. I support it. What do you all think? Qing Emperor looked at the group and asked. No problem. It was decided from the beginning that the battle will be commanded by Night Sorrow. Then we will follow Night Sorrow's plan. Even if such a decision wasn't made, this strategy is the most suitable, Sima Tianqing said. Li Tianba and Red Emperor nodded to express their support. Third watch. Chapter 1400. I have already set up the teleportation portal and the army has already started the teleportation. Everyone don't move first as they will discover us. I will go to the vicinity of Poison King Valley to set up the teleportation portal. Then I will come back to bring everyone there and start the massacre. Night Sorrow told us what to do next. Very good. Next you make the arrangements. We'll fight however you want, said Yuandao Heavenly Lord. He was very impressed with Yi Shan's tactical arrangements. Since the war has started, there is no need to talk about sneak attacks. I just want to win. Also, to prevent us from losing our advantage in the final battle, it would be best if we can kill the Heaven Masters of Martial Sacred Hall and Poison King Valley, Night Sorrow said. Kill the Heaven Masters too? Lord of Heaven looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. This was because Night Sorrow was very different from before. He was full of fighting spirit. Why not? Didn't they start the battle of the Heaven Masters? Heavenly Lord Shin, who has made his move more than once in the Samsara Great Realm. If he can't defeat us, it means that he isn't strong enough. Now that we have a chance, we naturally have to expand our gains. That way, when we attack the Martial Dynasty, they won't be able to fight to the death even if they want to. Yi Shan explained the reason for his decision. That's right. When they attacked the Reincarnation Great World, Lord of Heaven God who made his move twice. It was just that the strength he was so proud of was ineffective. Now that we have the chance to get rid of a few despicable people, we should expand our advantage. Datura supported Night Sorrow's point of view. Even if Night Sorrow's point of view was wrong, she would support it unconditionally. It's decided. Night Sorrow, go and make the arrangements. Lord of Heaven said. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to everyone in the tent and went to make the arrangements. The analysis of the situation and the trend is on point. If we don't get rid of the Heaven Masters when we attack the Jianghu dynasty, they will have a large number of Heaven Masters. They might fight to the death with us. If we get rid of a few first, we will have a huge advantage. When our army attacks the Jianghu dynasty, they can only watch. If one wasn't strong enough, would they be able to open it? At that time, we will have the final say in how we fight. Yuandao Heavenly Lord said. Red Emperor, Datura, this king can understand how you felt when you were fighting against the Qing Emperor's imperial dynasty. Facing a commander with this kind of war command, anyone would have a headache. Sima Tianqing said with a smile. I was beaten up by my husband. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Datura said with a smile. If the realm war goes well and we win, the origin of the world of Samsara will be rewarded by the heavenly way. We will also be blessed by the origin of the world of Samsara. The benefits will be immeasurable. The Qing Emperor said. When the world's origin rewards him based on his contributions, the one who contributed the most is still him, haha. The commander of the Alliance Army, the strategist, and the key person who decided the victory. We can't compare to him. Sima Tianqing said with a smile. He didn't do it intentionally. He just wanted to win this realm war. He probably didn't even think about what he would gain. The Qing Emperor shook his head. He knew that Night Sorrow didn't have any utilitarian intentions. Night Sorrow and Summer City carefully made their way to the Poison King's Valley area. Then they started to set up a teleportation array in the illusory array. After the teleportation array in the illusory array was connected to the one in the Martial God Palace, Night Sorrow and Summer City were teleported to the illusory array in the Martial God Palace area. Commander, you're here. Our army is ready to attack at any time, Jun Xuanji reported. Jun Xuanji reported. Nu Lin, Qiu He, Yufeng and the others nodded at Yishang. They were all prepared for battle. After the battle here, we need to quickly move to the next battlefield and attack the Poison King's Valley. I want to cripple the Martial God Palace and the Poison King's Valley in this battle, Night Sorrow said to the commanders and sovereigns present. Commander, you just came from the Poison King's Valley? Nulin asked. That's right. After the battle here, we need to quickly teleport over and start the battle. Night Sorrow nodded. Nulin and the others were very excited. The next battle was revenge. In the years that Night Sorrow wasn't around, everyone had been suppressed. Now that they had a chance to release their pent-up emotions, they were naturally excited and happy. After giving the order to prepare for battle, Night Sorrow teleported back to the Blue Eagle Mountain and arrived at the Sky Master's tent. I plan to attack the Martial God Palace at night. When the time comes, everyone just needs to rush over, Night Sorrow said. Okay, no problem. Qing Emperor nodded. Everyone teleport over after we start the battle. That way, even if their Sky Master senses it, it'll be useless. When the battle starts, they can only defend themselves. They won't have time to think of any countermeasures, Night Sorrow said. After the discussion, Night Sorrow returned to the illusion array in the Martial God Palace area and waited for the sky to turn dark. When the sky turned dark, the battle would begin. Night Sorrow was also a little excited. The next two battles would determine the direction of the world war between the two great worlds. All the legions were ready to fight at any time. Night Sorrow called the commanders of the various legions to the tent. Then he took out a map and told everyone the areas that each legion would be responsible for. After giving the instructions, Night Sorrow put away the map and waited for the time of the final battle to arrive. When the moon rose and the stars twinkled in the sky, Night Sorrow came out of the tent and called for everyone to gather. The next battle is the most crucial one. Thank you for your hard work. Everyone come back alive, Night Sorrow said. Commander Night, you don't have to be so polite. We know what to do, Yufeng said. Look at the original chapter. Section. Okay then, let's start the battle. Xuanji, go back and inform my master and the others that the battle has begun. Night Sorrow stopped the illusion array after he finished speaking. Then he led the Nine Heavens Legion to the core area of the Martial God Palace. That was the resource building, the area where the resources were hidden. Night Sorrow didn't say anything when someone blocked his way. He just waved his hand and killed. At that moment, the other Sky Masters who received the news also appeared. They had to pin down the two Sky Masters of the Martial God Palace. Everyone watch this place. I'll go and kill them. Dachura's body flashed and flew toward the area where he sensed the opportunity. Misty Rain and Lord of Precious Fragrance are here. The teleportation array can't be destroyed. Everyone else start killing. The two Sky Masters of the Martial God Palace must be eliminated today, the Red Emperor said. Night Sorrow led his men and charged toward the core area of the Martial God Palace. Night Sorrow killed anyone who blocked his way with Sky Splitter. When he sensed the auras of several Sky Masters, the Martial God Palace Master ended his cultivation and appeared in front of the pavilion. Martial God Xiang also appeared. Xiang, what's going on? The Martial God Palace Master's expression was very ugly. A sneak attack. The people of the Reincarnation Great World are attacking us. Martial God Xiang looked up at the sky because Dachura had arrived. Fourth update. Today's update complete. Chapter 1401. Dark Dominator, what are you trying to do? The Martial Sacred Hall Master, who was wearing a long robe with golden cloud patterns, asked Dachura, what am I trying to do? Isn't that obvious? Of course I'm trying to kill you. Weren't you having a great time following Lord of Heaven God Tiger around? Today you will die. Dachura said as he struck with his hollow blade. A blade radiance slashed towards the Martial Sacred Hall Master. The Martial Sacred Hall Master's expression changed as he floated back. Then he held a long sword in his hand. He was very clear that today was a calamity because Mandela and Lord of Heaven God who had a slight advantage in the battle. Lord of Heaven God Tiger was the #1 expert in the Jianghu Great World. The Martial Sacred Hall Master was no match for him. In comparison, he was naturally no match for Dachura. Xiang, quickly go to the Jianghu dynasty and ask for help. The Martial Sacred Hall Master shouted as he retreated. He knew that if he wanted to escape today's calamity, he had to find an ally. Without an ally he would die today. Request for help? Don't count on it. Today you will pay the price for invading the world of samsara. Sandalwood appeared with her battle blade and charged towards Martial God Xiang. Red Emperor, Sky Tiger Valley Master, you guys hold the formation. Qing Emperor, leave. We will kill his clone. You want to run? Dream on. Lord of Heaven Yuan Dao shouted. Are you guys trying to kill me? Hearing Lord of Heaven Yuan Dao's words, the martial sacred hall master was shocked. Lord of Heaven Yuan Dao's words were equivalent to cutting off his path. Dachura's body flashed as he struck with his hollow blade again and again. The blade radiance formed a net that restricted the martial sacred hall master's movement space. The martial god palace master's body flashed with light, and the long sword in his hand slashed fiercely in one direction, trying to open up a path of survival. However, Mandela was waiting for him in front of him, and she directly used the Great Death Destruction Slash. Don't push me too far. The martial sacred hall master roared as his clone was being attacked by Lord of Heaven Yuan Dao. I'm going to kill you. How can I push you too far? Why are you so talkative? The black halo triggered by Dachura's death annihilation slash enveloped the martial god hall master. The hollow blade slashed toward the martial god hall master's head with a blade beam. The martial god palace master roared furiously as he struggled to resist the negative effects of the black halo. Absolute arts were not invincible. It also depended on the opponent's strength. The martial god palace master was affected by the death obliteration slash's effects on his soul and spacetime. He fell into a predicament, but he did not lose consciousness. Therefore he tried his best to struggle. The martial god palace master struggled to break free from the suppression and influence of the black light. Dachura's machete arrived. He could only hurriedly block. How could the martial god palace's palace master block the attack in a fluster? The long sword in his hand blocked the path of Dachura's hollow blade, but the blade aura pierced his body and forced him to retreat. After forcing the martial sacred hall's hall master to retreat, Dachura caught up with him in a flash and performed the Great Death Destruction Slash once again. The martial god palace master roared furiously as he struggled to break free from the influence on his soul. Then he used his sword to block. After blocking twice, the martial god palace master was severely injured. His chest and abdomen were pierced by Dachura's blade aura. Martial god Shiyang was in an even worse state. His original body and clone were fighting Qiao Tan at the same time. However, he was still at a disadvantage. Qiao Tan's attacks were extremely violent. She suppressed his original body and had already chopped off half of his original body. You are no longer a match for me. I have nothing to say to you. After saying that, the Red Emperor attacked and charged toward martial god Shiyang's clone. Night Sorrow led the Nine Heavens army to the Divine Martial Pavilion and destroyed the teleportation array first. Then he continued to kill. He did not want any reinforcements to appear. Furious roars and screams rang out continuously. However, they were not from the Nine Heavens army. The Nine Heavens army soldiers gritted their teeth and killed. Even if they were injured, they did not make a sound. Silent killing was a tradition of the Nine Heavens army. Moreover, there were not many who were injured. At this moment, the martial sacred hall was already in a daze. Battles broke out everywhere in the martial sacred hall's region. Several legions surrounded and attacked together. Furthermore, the martial sacred hall's Divine Hall Legion had nearly been destroyed some time ago. Hence, the martial sacred hall did not have the strength to resist. It was a one-sided massacre. The battle between the powerhouses was still ongoing. However, the martial sacred hall master couldn't withstand Dachura's attacks at all. When Dachura used his third ultimate move, he was killed. He didn't even have the chance to escape. Sandalwood also killed martial god Shiyang's main body. The Red Emperor and martial god Shiyang's clone were still fighting. The Red Emperor had the upper hand. Xuanji Nu Lin, go wash the resources and bring them away, Night Sorrow shouted. He wanted to kill the enemy, so he had to leave the looting to others. The 7 legions of the Nine Heavens army had destroyed the martial sacred hall. Hence, there was no difficulty in looting the resources. After killing martial god Shiyang's main body, Sandalwood went towards martial god Shiyang's clone again. You caused trouble during my wedding. That's the reason why you died today. Red Emperor retreated. Sandalwood had no difficulty killing martial god Shiyang's clone. She had already killed the main body, so why couldn't she kill the clone? Everyone knew that the main body was stronger than the clone. At this moment, Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord and Qing Emperor returned. The martial sacred hall master's clone had already been killed by Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord. The battle was over. Only martial god Shiyang's clone was left struggling under Sandalwood's blade. Quickly, we're done here. Let's move on to the next battlefield, Night Sorrow ordered. Soon the war was over. Murderers killed, robbers killed, and the war was over. Sandalwood also killed martial god Shi Yang's clone. Let's go to the teleportation formation. Let's start the next battle. Knight Sorrow led his people and flew towards the teleportation formation. The heavenly lords were floating in the air. The arrangements are appropriate, the results are remarkable. The Crimson Emperor said with some emotion. Yes, when Shinwu Great World attacked us they didn't give any orders. They just fought randomly. Compared to Knight Sorrow they were on a completely different level. Datura said. Of course, Knight Sorrow's ability is related, but everyone's trust is also very important. Without everyone's support, Knight Sorrow's strength would be limited. Qing Emperor said. Let's go. Let's stop sighing. Knight Sorrow and the others are starting to teleport. After the Poison King's Valley is destroyed, we can drink tea and chat. Li Tianba said. At this time, Knight Sorrow was leading his people to the teleportation formation. Destroying the martial sacred hall and killing 2 heavenly lords was a great achievement. If the Poison King's Valley was eliminated, the Shinwu Great World strength would drop by a lot. The happiest parties were the Jianghu dynasty and the Fortune Gate. Knight Sorrow and the Fortune Gate didn't have much interaction. When he was in the Ice Dragon world, the Fortune Gates by Yun led a team to hunt him down once. While Knight Sorrow was thinking, the army was rapidly teleporting. What was important was to end the battle quickly and expand the battle results before the Shinwu Great World could react. First update. Chapter 1402. As there were too many people, the teleportation took half an hour to complete. After the teleportation, Knight Sorrow turned around and saw that the Heaven Masters had arrived. He gave the order to start the battle. Several legions attacked together. In a short while, the disciples of the Poison King Valley were being slaughtered. Cries and howls could be heard everywhere. Although the disciples of the Poison King Valley cultivated poison arts, their protective chi shields were effective against poison arts if they were prepared. They were too fast and ruthless. The legions were all led by high-class monarchs. The disciples of the Poison King Valley weren't able to withstand them. The legions surrounded the headquarters of the Poison King Valley and continued the massacre. Damn it! All of you deserve to die. The Heaven Lord of Poison was floating above the Poison King Hall. He was already surrounded by the Heaven Masters of the world of reincarnation. It's you who deserves to die. You entered the world of reincarnation to show off your prowess and then ran back like nothing happened? Let's kill him and be done with it. The Red Emperor shouted and attacked. The Qing Emperor and the others didn't stay idle. The Heaven Lord of Poison was proficient in poison. If they didn't kill him quickly and give him a chance to use poison, it would be troublesome. The Heaven Masters might be fine, but it would be fatal for the soldiers. The Heaven Lord of Poison was flustered when the Heaven Lord of Poison attacked at the same time. He couldn't resist at all and his legs were chopped off by the Heaven Lord of Origin Dao. Then, the Qing Emperor's Great Emperor Reincarnation / and Datura's Great Death Destruction / landed on his body. Translator. Lon_editor. Ephidacia. Without a doubt, the Heaven Lord of Poison was chopped up by the Heaven Masters of the world of reincarnation. He didn't even have the chance to release the clone in his body before he was annihilated. Lord Ruler, take it easy. The saber radiance almost cut me, Li Tianba muttered. Datura's saber aura was too fast. Li Tianba, who was opposite her, was almost injured by the saber aura after it pierced through the Heaven Lord of Poison. Stupid. Datura glanced at the Heaven Lord of Poison. Knight Sorrow led a few legions and washed the Poison King Valley with blood. If someone was poisoned, there would be others who would immediately come to their aid. Everyone had brought top-notch resources with them, so detoxifying the poison would not be a problem. After collecting the resources, Knight Sorrow turned to the Sky Master's side. 2 battles have been completed. This was a surprise attack. Next it will be a head-on battle. Very good. You destroyed 2 forces and 3 Sky Masters in one move. The results of the battle are already beyond our expectations. I was just thinking that if you were a cultivator from Shinwu Great World, some of us might have already fallen, Sima Tianqing said. Our current achievements are inseparable from your support. Why can't they make progress in the Samsara world? Due to the lack of trust between the various factions, the Alliance army does not have a unified command. This does not apply to us, so we have the advantage and they have the disadvantage, Knight Sorrow said. That's right. Without a unified command, how can tactics and strategies be carried out perfectly? Therefore, the situation is in our favor. Sima Tianqing said. Let's go back and have some tea. After that, we will split the spoils. Night Sorrow said to the group with a smile. Following that, the group left. Night Sorrow brought up the rear and dismantled the 2 teleportation arrays before returning to Blue Eagle Mountain. Night Sorrow called Jun Xuanji, Nu Lin, Qiuhe, and Yu Feng, who were collecting the resources, over. The principle of resource distribution is to be divided equally among the major factions. However, those who have suffered heavy losses will get more. You guys decide what to do next. Night Sorrow said to the commanders. All the Sky Masters nodded. Night Sorrow had done a good job. Also, all the legions should rest. I will study the next target. Night Sorrow said. There was no problem with resource distribution. All the resources from the 2 top factions gave everyone a good income. Night Sorrow went to the 9 Heavens army to take a look. There were 100 injured and some dead. They were poisoned and could not be rescued in time. Although Night Sorrow was heartbroken, he knew that this was unavoidable. People would die in a war. If there were no deaths, it would not be a war. Night Sorrow emphasized that they had to deal with the aftermath properly before returning to his tent. The Shenwu Great World was in an uproar. 2 top factions were destroyed and 3 Sky Masters fell. This had not happened in countless years. Everyone in the Shenwu Great World knew that it was done by the Reincarnation Great World. However, no one knew where the Reincarnation Great World's people were. The Reincarnation Great World's attacks were sharp. With lightning speed, they destroyed 2 top factions and killed 3 Sky Masters before retreating. This made all the factions in the Shenwu Great World uneasy. No one knew which faction the Reincarnation Great World's next target would be. In the Sky Moon City Lord's mansion of the Sky Moon Pavilion, Lin Qingyi was talking to an old man in plain robes. Qingyi, are you saying that the Reincarnation Great World will not attack us? The old man asked. The old man in plain robes was the Pavilion Lord of the Sky Moon Pavilion, the 3 Sons Lord of Heaven. He had been to the Reincarnation Great World before. However, after Lin Qingyi was defeated, he returned to the Shenwu Great World. He had participated in the Realm War before. Since he had lost, he did not care. Night Sorrow said that as long as we do not participate in the Realm War, they will not come to our region. He is now the commander-in-chief of the Allied forces. He can still make this decision, Lin Qingyi said. Her clone was in charge of the captives in the Reincarnation Great World. Her original body had returned to the Shenwu Great World with the 3 Sons Lord of Heaven. The Martial Sacred Hall brought this upon themselves. Back then, they wanted to snatch the Heavenly Tao artifact and then declared war. It caused a huge commotion. Now, they followed the Jianghu dynasty and started the Realm War. Hence, they brought this upon themselves. However, the enemy's methods were quite ruthless. They directly launched a thunderous attack and destroyed 2 forces. They killed 3 Heaven Masters. Their original body and clone were all destroyed. This was a fatal blow. The 3 Sons Lord of Heaven took a deep breath. He was even a little afraid because this method was too difficult to defend against. Master, we have lost this Realm War. The main reason is that we were unrighteous. Our reason for participating in the Realm War was not justified. The Jianghu dynasty lost 2 powerful allies. It will be almost impossible for them to win the Realm War in the future, Lin Qingyi said. The Heaven Masters of the Reincarnation Great World are really bold. They actually let a young man become the commander-in-chief of the Allied forces. The 3 Sons Lord of Heaven did not understand. This was because it was equivalent to handing over his army to someone else. He had to accept it as cannon fodder. Night Sorrow is very strong, especially when it comes to war. He was able to gain the trust of others. The main reason is that he is a cultivator of the body of merit. He will not do things that go against his conscience. In addition, he is strong enough to be promoted. He also gained the support of everyone in the Reincarnation Great World, Lin Qingyi said. If we lost, then we lost. We also contributed to the Realm War. If Heaven Master Godhood thinks that he is strong enough, then he can solve the problem himself, the 3 Sons Lord of Heaven said. Second update. Thank you for unlocking yesterday's chapter. Chapter 1403. The Jianghu dynasty is arrogant and overbearing. Now that they've kicked an iron plate, they won't take this lying down. They destroyed Martial Sacred Hall and Poison King Valley because they were the most aggressive. Destroying them was also an opportunity to widen the gap between the Reincarnation Great World and the Shenwu Great World. They succeeded and destroyed 3 of the giants of the Shenwu Great World. Now the Shenwu Great World is not afraid of a head-on battle. They won't be at a disadvantage even if they fight head-on, Lin Qingyi said. We don't care about this anymore. As long as they don't come to the Heavenly Moon Pavilion's territory, it's fine. As for the realm war that hurt the reincarnation Great World, we'll compensate them. If we lose and can't defeat them, we'll have to pay the price. That's the rule, the 3 Sons Lord of Heaven said. I understand. I'll talk to him when I can, Lin Qingyi said. Lin Qingyi said. She didn't know where Yi Shang and his men were, so there was no way to negotiate. After settling everything, Knight Sorrow went to the tent where the Sky Master was. He drank tea and chatted with everyone. Knight Sorrow, what's next? Li Tianba asked. There's no hurry. The realm war isn't over in a day or 2. What we want is victory. As long as we win, it doesn't matter if it's earlier or later, Knight Sorrow said. That's right. What's the hurry? The precious fragrance Lord of Heaven glared at Li Tianba. These bastards need to be dealt with. Today's battle was so satisfying that I want to do it a few more times, Li Tianba said with a smile. There's no hurry. It's still early for the realm war to end. Everyone stay here for now. I'll go back to Black Fiend City to take a look. There are many captives there. We have to be safe, Knight Sorrow said. Qing Emperor and the rest nodded. The stability of the reincarnation Great World was a must. Knight Sorrow returned to Black Fiend City through the teleportation formation. He went to the place where the captives lived. Seeing Knight Sorrow, Lin Qingyi was stunned. Aren't you commanding the realm war? Yes, after 2 battles I was worried about the stability of your side, so I came to take a look, Knight Sorrow said. I will do what I promised you, Lin Qingyi said. I believe you. If there's a situation or a riot, the 2 armies in Black Fiend City will go out. If there's a need, you can also inform them, Knight Sorrow said. Currently, the Chihuahua Army and the Green Phoenix Army were stationed in Black Fiend City. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. There's something else I want to talk to you about. Lin Qingyi knew that Knight Sorrow was worried. She also wanted to talk to her master about the matter. After all, it was not easy to see Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow followed Lin Qingyi into the tent. Martial God Palace Lord, Martial God Shiyang and Poison King Heaven Monarch were all killed by you guys. You guys are fast, Lin Qingyi said after brewing a pot of tea. How do you know? I understand now. You have a doppelganger in Shenwu Great World. Knight Sorrow understood immediately. My master wants me to talk to you. There are some things that I won't hide from you. Our Heavenly Moon Pavilion participated in the World War, and although we have withdrawn now, we still fought in the world of reincarnation. Hence, we have to give you an explanation. You can tell me what you want. My master just doesn't want the Heavenly Moon Pavilion region to be affected by the flames of war, Lin Qingyi said. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion is very gentlemanly. If it's my personal matter, there's no need to ask for anything. However, it's the Alliance Army now. You guys can arrange for me to explain to the Alliance Army, Knight Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Okay, there's a Qingyi Marquis mansion in Heavenly Moon City. That's my territory. If you trust me, you can find me. Go to the Heavenly Moon Pavilion. If I can't guarantee your safety, I'll be abandoned by everyone, Lin Qingyi said. Okay, I'll go when I have time, Knight Sorrow nodded. You're really powerful. You've reduced part of the Shenwu Great World strength in one go. Your victory rate in the realm war is more than half. The allies of the Jianghu dynasty have been defeated by you, so they don't have much say, Lin Qingyi said. It's not my intention to kill. However, people should be indomitable and have a clear conscience. The Shenwu Great World started a realm war on our world of samsara. They killed people and robbed resources. As a cultivator of the world of samsara, I can't take this lying down, Knight Sorrow said. I can understand. I don't think you're wrong either. This is the way of the world, Lin Qingyi said. Only one original copy. Others are all stolen copies. Original copy. After Knight Sorrow returned to the Blue Eagle Mountain in the Shenwu Great World, he first sent out the spies of the Angry Lin army to gather information. Then, he went to the big tent of the Sky Master and told him about the Heavenly Moon Pavilion's decision. They're purely fighting for the realm war. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, as long as they withdraw from the realm war, we can't pursue the matter. I think that since they're willing to give an explanation, you can make the arrangements, Sima Tianqing said. It's actually a matter of face. For the sake of stability, they're willing to give us an explanation. This is good for both sides, Red Emperor said. That's what I was thinking too. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I don't want to become a traitor when the time comes for more or less resources, said Yishan. This was his purpose for coming here. He didn't want others to not understand. What are you talking about? Even if someone calls us traitors, no one will call you a traitor, Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Everyone smiled and nodded. That was the truth. No matter who was a traitor, Night Sorrow wouldn't be a traitor. In the current situation of the world of reincarnation, Night Sorrow was the commander and the Sky Master was his henchman. Everyone please take care of this place. I'll be leaving for a while later, Night Sorrow said. You're leaving? Aren't you the commander of the army? Sima Tianqing frowned. I only had a brief discussion with the Marquis of Qingyi about the Heavenly Moon Pavilion. They invited me over and promised my safety. Once we get rid of the Heavenly Moon Pavilion, we'll have one less opponent, Night Sorrow said. Promise? Maybe they don't mean to hurt you, but there's still a lot of uncertainty. Qing Emperor didn't agree. Night Sorrow's safety was too important. How about this? I'll go with you. The other party is sincere. It wouldn't be appropriate if we don't go. Let's go and see the situation. Even if something happens, it won't be difficult for us to escape unscathed. Dechira stood up and said. If you asked who was most worried about Night Sorrow, it would be Dechira. In her heart, Night Sorrow was an indomitable man. At the same time, he also needed to be taken care of and loved because he had a lot to bear. That's fine. Also, it's not appropriate for us to go out rashly. I've already sent out spies to gather information. When I return, we can start the next battle, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow and Dechira left the tent. There won't be any danger. Let's just treat it as a sightseeing trip. We'll go to the Heavenly Moon Pavilion as guests, Night Sorrow said. Third watch. Chapter 1404. You sure are confident. I like your aura and boldness, Dechira said with a smile. Your words make me feel sweet in my heart. What men care about the most is their woman's evaluation, Yishan said. Dechira smiled because she liked this feeling. No matter how imposing Night Sorrow was when he led the army, no matter how strong his killing intent was when he faced his enemies, he would always be gentle and polite when facing his family and wife. In the commander's tent, Yi Shang and Mandela left Blue Eagle Mountain after informing Nu Lin and Jun Xuanji. They flew toward the nearest city. When they arrived at the nearest city, Night Sorrow and Dechira began to teleport. The Shinwu Great World was dominated by human cultivators. Dechira wore a veil to cover her beautiful face, so she didn't attract too much attention. After a few teleportations, the two arrived at the Sky Moon Pavilion's territory. After another teleportation, Night Sorrow and Dechira arrived at Sky Moon City. When the soldier guarding the teleportation array saw Night Sorrow and Dechira, he took 2 steps back because he could see Night Sorrow's cultivation. We don't have any hostility. We are only here to find someone. Can you take us to the Qingyi Marquis residence? Night Sorrow asked. You are looking for the young pavilion master? The soldier stopped the soldiers who surrounded them and asked. Yes, Lin Qingyi asked me to go to the Qingyi Marquis residence to find her, Night Sorrow said. The soldier was a little hesitant. The other soldiers still surrounded Night Sorrow and Dechira. It's fine if you can't take us. We will wait. You can go and report, Night Sorrow said again. Why are you wasting your breath on them? They invited us here, yet they don't know how to treat us courteously? Dechira was a little angry as he released the suppressed aura of his leakless true body. Dechira had just released his aura when an elder appeared. It was the 3 Suns Heavenly Monarch, who was wearing a plain robe and a silver crown. Don't be rude. Step down. 3 Suns Heavenly Monarch shouted at the soldiers. Dechira cupped his hands at the 3 Suns Heavenly Monarch. Lord Ruler is here. They don't know how to be polite. Sorry for offending you. The 3 Suns Heavenly Monarch had met Dechira before. In the Reincarnation Great World, he had watched the battle between Dechira and Heaven Lord Jianghu. Nothing much. I was just following Night Sorrow for a walk. Seeing that the 3 Suns Heaven Monarch's attitude was better, Dechira restrained his aura. Forever free of charge, see small carrot say, Lord Ruler, you think too much. Since we invited Commander Knight, I will definitely take good care of him, said the 3 Suns Princess. Then, the 3 Suns Heavenly Monarch brought Night Sorrow and Dechira to the Qingyi Marquis residence. Commander Knight is here. Qingyi did not welcome you properly. Knight Sorrow and the others had just arrived at the Qingyi Marquis residence when Lin Qingyi appeared. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands at Lin Qingyi. After entering the residence, Lin Qingyi personally brewed some tea. Commander Knight, Lord Ruler, as a force of the Shenwu Great World, participating in this realm war is the responsibility of the Heavenly Moon Pavilion. However, we have brought trouble to the Reincarnation Great World. If the Heavenly Moon Pavilion wants to withdraw from this war, they must give us an explanation. I understand this. The Three Sons Heavenly Monarch was straightforward. Lord Heavenly Monarch, you are reasonable. From my point of view, this is nothing. However, we must give the Alliance and the Allied forces an explanation, said Knight Sorrow. This is the Heavenly Moon Pavilion's compensation to the Reincarnation Great World. We only ask that the Heavenly Moon Pavilion's region be spared from the flames of war. The Three Sons Princess took out a storage ring and placed it in front of Knight Sorrow. Lord Heavenly Monarch, you are too kind. When Knight Sorrow returns, I will explain this matter to the leaders of the Reincarnation Great World. The Alliance will not attack the Heavenly Moon Pavilion, said Knight Sorrow. Aren't you going to take a look at what's in the storage ring? The Three Sons Heavenly Monarch looked at Knight Sorrow in confusion. Actually, it doesn't matter what's in the storage ring. Lord Heavenly Monarch's attitude is enough. Rather than saying that the storage ring is compensation, it's more like an attitude that we need, said Knight Sorrow. All right. The Three Sons Heavenly Monarch nodded. After today's matter, our people will not enter the Heavenly Moon Pavilion's region. Furthermore, today's matter will not be leaked. Although you are doing this for the sake of the people of the Heavenly Moon Pavilion's region, you will not be able to avoid criticism, said Knight Sorrow. The Three Sons Heavenly Monarch nodded. I didn't expect you to understand me. The few of them sat for a while. The Three Sons Heavenly Monarch instructed Lin Qingyi to take care of the guests before he left. The matter had been settled. After checking into the guest room that Lin Qingyi had arranged for them, Knight Sorrow opened the storage ring. 300,000 sacred spirit stones. This is not a small amount of compensation. Things have gone smoothly, said Knight Sorrow. Not bad. The Three Sons Heavenly Monarch has seen things clearly. He knows that the situation is irreversible. He participated in the realm war to obtain the reward of the origin of the realm. Now that the realm war is out of the question, protecting the region from now on is also a merit, said Datura. There is no right or wrong in the first place. It's just that our goals are different. He is also a smart person. He knows when to retreat, said Knight Sorrow. This is good for everyone. After all, we have one less opponent. Datura nodded. After staying at the Qingyi Marquis residence for 2 days, Knight Sorrow declined Lin Qingyi's invitation to stay. He left the residence with Datura and rushed back to the Blue Eagle Mountain. Knight Sorrow, what is your next target? Asked Datura. The Fortune Gate. Bai Taisong's Fortune Gate. Knight Sorrow said. Bai Taisong's Fortune Gate is very strong. Bai Taisong does not make a move easily, but most people acknowledge his strength. The Fortune Gate and the Jianghu dynasty are allies. Unlike the Poison King's Valley and Martial God Palace, the Jianghu dynasty and the Fortune Gate are allies of the same level. This is because Heavenly Monarch God whose strength is not a threat to Bai Taisong, said Datura. The last time I went to the Ice Dragon realm, people from the Fortune Gate chased after me. Their style of doing things is also ruthless. The time is not ripe to directly attack the Jianghu dynasty. In that case, let's take down the Fortune Gate. Knight Sorrow said. Datura nodded. She had also commanded armies in battle in the past, so she knew that Knight Sorrow's strategy was correct. Knight Sorrow returned to the command tent on the Blue Eagle Mountain and gave the Heavenly Moon Pavilion storage rings to Jun Xuanji for him to distribute to the armies of the various forces. It was difficult for him to get resources for the various armies, so naturally he would not give them to the powerhouses. At this time, the spies returned one by one and reported the results of their investigation to Knight Sorrow. There is still the invincible monarch. This is my business. Aluo, I want to know how the world war in the outside world is decided? Knight Sorrow looked at Datura and asked. Divine Martial City. As long as we take down the Divine Martial City, we will win the world war. This is the judgment of the Heavenly Tao. The other thing is to kill until the other side is convinced. You know how difficult this is? Datura said. If we attack the Divine Martial City now, we might be able to take it down, but we will definitely suffer heavy losses. So we can't be too hasty. Take down the Fortune Gate first. Fortune Gate, they actually dared to give it such a name. Night Sorrow muttered in a low voice. Because they have treasures. The sect was named because of their treasures. Datura said. The fourth update has arrived. Today's update is complete. Chapter 1405. Datura then explained the situation of the Fortune Gate to Night Sorrow. The Fortune Gate was not an established force in the Xinwu Great World. The Fortune Lord Bai Taisong was also a heavenly lord, but no one dared to look down on him. The reason why Bai Taisong was able to become a heavenly lord and establish a top force was because of a treasure, the Fortune Immortal Pavilion. The Fortune Immortal Pavilion was a treasure that surpassed the monarch weapon and could seize the fortune of the heavens. Because it could seize the fortune of the heavens, it was called the Fortune Immortal Pavilion. Is it an auxiliary treasure? Night Sorrow asked. It's a defensive treasure, similar to your space-time pagoda, but it can seize the fortune of the heavens, so it's amazing. Datura said. We have to fight even if it's strong, but we have to be careful. Night Sorrow said. With the Jianghu dynasty and the Fortune Gate, we can't win the realm war, so we have to take care of them. Also, as you said, the realm war is not something that can be done in a day, we can't rush it. Datura said. She knew Night Sorrow's ability, but she was worried that Night Sorrow would be impatient. Don't worry, I know what's important and I won't act rashly. Let's take care of the average forces first, and take down the Jianghu dynasty and the Fortune Gate last. I feel like I'm being suppressed. Night Sorrow said. What suppression? Datura asked, puzzled. I can't say for sure, but it seems like it's a pressure from the soul and will. It should be the rejection of the Xinwu Great World. Night Sorrow said. Datura looked at Night Sorrow, then told Night Sorrow some things about the Realm War. The Realm War was a fight for the fortune of the two worlds, which was also a fight for the heavens' favor. Not only did cultivators need fate and the heavenly Tao's blessing, but the spatial world also needed it. This would reduce the number of tribulations and extend the lifespan of the spatial world. The realm war between the Xinwu Great World and the Samsara Great World was a competition for fate. The winner would obtain the fate of both worlds. Night Sorrow had represented the Samsara Great World in battle and had dealt heavy damage to the Divine Martial Great World several times. Thus, the Divine Martial Great World's origin source had a relatively strong blessing of destiny. Naturally, the Divine Martial Great World's origin source could sense it. Sensing the threat and harm brought by Night Sorrow, the origin of Xinwu Great World was naturally hostile to Night Sorrow. So that's how it is. So be it. After knowing the reason, Night Sorrow knew that he could only bear with it. Try activating the light of merit. The origin of the Great World can't surpass the Merit Saint. The origin of the Great World can't suppress the Merit Saint. That's a blasphemy to the heavenly Tao. Datura reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow tried to activate the energy of the golden body of merit in his body. The golden light of merit outside the divine sea in his head also emitted naturally. As Night Sorrow activated the light of merit, the suppression retreated and disappeared without a trace. It's really effective. Night Sorrow shrugged his shoulders. If you have strength and confidence, you have to show it. Whoever touches you after that will have to bear the consequences. The origin of the Great World can suppress the Merit Saint. This is against the heavenly Tao. Datura snorted coldly. At this time in the Xinwu city, a man stood facing the wind on a mountain in the east. I provoked the Merit Saint. The battle of forces turned into a realm war. It's my mistake. In a mature spatial world, the origin of the Great World had spiritual wisdom and could transform. This was the case in the Nine Clouds world and the Three Great Worlds. The world of Samsara had the Samsara Palace, the Black-Yellow Great World had the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth, and the Xinwu Great World also had the Xinwu Fighting Heaven, which was similar in nature to the Samsara Palace. When several forces in the Xinwu Great World declared war on the world of Samsara, the origin of Xinwu Great World thought that these forces were confident, so it launched a realm war in the name of the origin of the Great World. However, the result was beyond its expectation. It was a crushing defeat and lost the war in the world of Samsara. If the attack failed, it would not attack. The cessation of the realm war did not have a big impact on the Xinwu Great World. But now, the world of Samsara had already attacked. Look at the original chapter on the first page of the book. When the origin of the Xinwu Great World found that Night Sorrow was the commander of the allied forces and there was still the origin of the world of Samsara in his body, it inadvertently suppressed him. When the origin of the Xinwu Great World found that Night Sorrow was the Sage of Merit, it hurriedly withdrew the inadvertent suppression. As the origin of the world, it was the master of the Shenwu great world, but it could not touch the sage of merit, even if he was the meritorious person of the world of samsara. Although it felt helpless, the origin of the Shenwu great world understood that it could only let nature take its course. In the following years and months, its fate was far worse than that of the world of samsara. Night Sorrow felt much more comfortable. Being suppressed was like a shackle on his body. It was very uncomfortable. Night Sorrow went to various legions and then walked around. After the realm war broke out, it was always a high-intensity battle, so the legion's ability to fight continuously was very important. When they saw Night Sorrow coming to check on them, all the sergeants who saw Night Sorrow bowed to salute him. First of all the sergeants had to respect his identity as the commander of the Allied forces. Secondly, Night Sorrow's character and strength of character were respected. Night Sorrow really valued the sergeants. In order to increase the sergeants' chances of survival, Night Sorrow even put aside his face and asked for resources from the chiefs of various forces to increase the sergeants' chances of survival. After looking around, Night Sorrow found that although the legions had gone through several battles, their spirits were still very good. Xuanji informed the city guards of the Qing Emperor's city to send some good wine over, Night Sorrow said to Jun Xuanji. When the legions went out to war, the city guards of various forces were responsible for supplying them. Night Sorrow returned to the tent and fell into deep thought. His current strength was enough to fight against a heaven overlord, but it was only limited to survival. If his main body was not in a state of enlightenment, he could go and refine the soul cultivation liquid now. Then his actual combat strength would increase greatly. However, to Night Sorrow the most important thing was to increase his comprehension of willpower. The soul cultivation liquid could be refined at any time, but the opportunity to comprehend willpower was hard to come by. If he stopped now, he did not know when he would be able to enter a state of high-speed comprehension again. Night Sorrow would not do something like neglecting the essentials. Strengthening the soul was the foundation, but it could be done sooner or later. In addition, Night Sorrow's soul power was already very strong because his soul had been strengthened and repaired by the space-time pagoda. The perfection of the soul was very important. A cultivator's soul had flaws, and it could be said that everyone was like this. However, Night Sorrow's soul was perfect because it had been strengthened by the space-time pagoda. In this aspect, only Night Sorrow had this condition. The space-time pagoda belonged to Night Sorrow, and Shao Kong only recognized Night Sorrow as its master. It only recognized Night Sorrow as its master. Other people could cultivate, but there was no special treatment. Artifact spirits were arrogant and only recognized their masters. This was a rule that no one could change. Night Sorrow was originally puzzled as to why the space-time pagoda was so strong that it could change the level of the soul. After knowing that it was a heavenly artifact, he understood that it was not strange for a heavenly artifact to have this ability. But the first update has arrived. Chapter 1406. All this time, Night Sorrow had been using the space-time treasure pagoda when he wasn't in seclusion. However, there were some special treatments that others didn't have. Only Night Sorrow had the privilege of repairing and perfecting one's soul. As for time and space energy, Shao Kong was only using it for Night Sorrow. That was to say, others didn't have this privilege. When Jiyu family's Jiyu Fenglan wanted to advance his Earth attribute to space attribute, he couldn't get the help of the space-time treasure pagoda. He could only stay at the top of the space-time treasure pagoda and comprehend the laws of space when the space-time treasure pagoda absorbed the energy of heaven and earth. Recognition wasn't only needed between people. The recognition of a treasure's artifact spirit was also very important. The recognition of the world's origin was even more heaven-defying. What are you thinking about? Datura entered the tent. Nothing, I'm just wondering what the Fortune Gate's immortal fortune pavilion is like. It can seize the fortune of heaven and earth. Night Sorrow said. I don't know the specifics of the Immortal Fortune Pavilion because it's a secret of the Fortune Gate. Bai Taesong won't tell anyone, but it's definitely powerful. Datura said. Then if there's a chance, we can snatch it and study it slowly. Night Sorrow said. Sure, if there's a chance we'll snatch it. There's no need to be polite. Datura said with a smile. Yishang smiled and nodded. This idea was possible, but one could imagine the difficulty. The treasure of a heaven master magnate, the cornerstone treasure of a top force, was not easy to snatch. There was only one way to snatch it, and that was to kill Lord of Creation by Taiching. Night Sorrow came up with a plan. Spies would spread the news that some forces could withdraw from the World War. As long as they showed sincerity and announced that they wouldn't interfere in the World War, they could survive. If they were stubborn, then Martial God Palace and Poison King Valley would be examples. Night Sorrow wouldn't be lenient. First, intimidate, divide. This was Night Sorrow's tactic, psychological warfare. Of course, this tactic wasn't effective in the early stages. If you don't have any battle records, who's afraid of you? However, things were different now. Martial Sacred Hall and Poison King Valley were both top forces. The fact that these two forces had been destroyed proved the strength of the Reincarnation Great World. Night Sorrow's request was that if there were any forces that were willing to compromise and withdraw from the realm war, they would post a notice on the 4 gates of the main city and send people over. Half a month after the news was released, there were already 2 major powers that announced their withdrawal from the realm war, choosing to compromise. They were all major powers and their strength was only average. Hence, they were worried that the world of reincarnation would wipe them out with lightning speed. Right now, everyone was worried about it. The negotiations were handled by Night Sorrow, Datura, and Sandalwood. It was mainly for the sake of safety. If there was a battle, Datura and Sandalwood would be able to hold on until the other heavyweights arrived. In addition, it wasn't that easy for anyone to set up an ambush. That was because Heaven Masters all had senses. It was very difficult to set up an ambush in advance unless one's speed was especially fast. Just like how Night Sorrow brought people to the Martial Sacred Hall, they teleported out in an instant. However, Datura and Sandalwood weren't afraid. The first force to compromise was a family power. The head of the family was a Heaven Master. Because he didn't want his descendants to be sacrificed in the war, he had no choice but to compromise after receiving the news. After receiving 300,000 Saint Spirit Stones as compensation and hearing the family heads vow to not participate in the realm war, Night Sorrow also made a promise to not attack this region. Other than that, Night Sorrow had another request. When the Reincarnation Great World attacked the Divine Martial City in the future, this family power couldn't participate. After receiving a positive reply, Night Sorrow, Datura, and Sandalwood left. Very good, this tactic is not bad. Now we have one less opponent. Now that we have dealt with 4 forces, there are still 3 forces that are hesitating. The Jianghu dynasty and Fortune Gate won't compromise. Night Sorrow said as they hurried. Martial Sacred Hall, Poison King Valley, Heavenly Moon Pavilion, and Lu Clan were the 4 forces that had decided to withdraw. If only these 2 forces were left, we could kill them by force. In fact, we already have the conditions to do so, but the losses would be great. Datura said. If we can win the war with a small price, there is no need to fight to the death. I won't tell anyone that the Heavenly Moon Pavilion is withdrawing from the realm war, but smart people can see that the attitude of a force withdrawing from the realm war is obvious. Therefore it will affect the judgment of others. Night Sorrow said. Datura and Sandalwood nodded. This was human psychology. Following the trend was everyone's awareness. After returning to the Blue Eagle Mountain, Night Sorrow arranged for the Angry Lin Army spies and secret guards to continue spreading the news and psychological attacks. After evenly dividing the resources and drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow sat down and cultivated, continuing to perfect his virtuous physique. The war was stable. Night Sorrow felt that the Shinwu Great World would be the first to fall. The Heaven Masters were also very calm. What was the situation? This was the situation now. The situation had opened up. This was the current situation. The Shinwu Great World was in chaos. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion's forces had all retreated to the Heavenly Moon Pavilion's territory. The Lu clan, who had negotiated with Night Sorrow, also retreated. This was a signal. No one in the world was stupid. Naturally, they knew what was going on. Furthermore, many people knew that the Lu clan had posted notices on the 4 gates of the main city. Following that, another sect posted notices on the 4 gates of the main city. Night Sorrow went to negotiate with the Lu clan once again. To put it bluntly, he had accepted their surrender. Saying that he had reconciled was giving them face. Every cultivator cared about face. There were still 4 other sections. Other than the stubborn Divine Martial Dynasty and Fortune Gate, there were still some who were uncertain about the situation. Since they had not made a choice, Night Sorrow decided to force them to make a choice. Night Sorrow brought Summer City to a second-rate city in the territory of the Wolf King sect. He set up an illusion array and transmission array, then returned with the 9 Heavens Legion. He first destroyed the transmission array, then washed the city lord's manor with blood. He left a message that if they did not make a choice, they would not attack a second-rate city next time. They would directly destroy the main city. After the battle, Knight Sorrow brought his forces back to the Blue Eagle Mountain. He used the Spirit Explosion Array to destroy the transmission array, making it so that the Wolf King sect did not know where their opponents were. After returning to the Blue Eagle Mountain, Knight Sorrow calmed down. Knight Sorrow brought people to kill. The other side is feeling very uncomfortable and forced to make a choice. Everyone knows that if they continue to resist, then Knight Sorrow will kill them the next time. At that time it will be too late to regret. Red Emperor said. This is the trend of the heavens. Knight Sorrow is using this trend to suppress them. Do they submit? Do they not submit? Everyone knows the result. Sima Tiancheng said with a smile. They bullied our reincarnation world. Now they are being bullied back. Precious Fragrance said with a smile. Wait and see. We will follow his arrangements. If he needs us, we will fight. Origin Dao Heavenly Lord said. Second update. Thank you old bro and Director P. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.